The Magical Camera. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a quaint, forgotten town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a reclusive photographer named Ariel. She was known throughout the region for her unparalleled skill in capturing the essence of life's most cherished moments. Her most prized possession, a magical camera passed down through her family for generations, held a secret known to few. Ariel's camera was unlike any other. It possessed the extraordinary ability to glimpse into the past and future. It was not a power she had sought, but one that had been bestowed upon her ancestors. The camera had been a guardian of moments, preserving the fleeting beauty of time. Ariel's life had been touched by this magical camera from the very beginning. As a child, she had stumbled upon the camera in her grandmother's dusty attic, alongside a yellowed journal filled with accounts of miraculous encounters. The diary revealed that her family had always kept the camera's secret, using it only for personal reflection and for helping those in need. One clear, autumn day, a local farmer named Samuel approached Ariel, tears in his eyes. He had lost his wife, Lily, to a sudden illness. Samuel had never had a photograph taken with his beloved, and he longed for a memento of their love. Ariel, recognizing the depth of his despair, decided to reveal the camera's true power. She invited Samuel to her small studio and set up the camera. With a gentle hand, she adjusted the lens, focusing on Samuel's teary eyes. A soft click echoed through the room, and on the camera's display a picture appeared. In it, Samuel stood with his arm around a radiant Lily, their smiles lighting up the frame. The photograph had not been taken before, but the couple stood together as if in a memory. Ariel showed Samuel the picture, and he wept with gratitude. The magical camera had given him a glimpse of a moment he had never experienced but would cherish forever. With that, Ariel began to offer her unique service to others in the town, providing solace and hope to those who had lost loved ones. News of Ariel's camera spread, and people from far and wide sought her out. It was in one of these encounters that Ariel met Emily, a young woman who had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Emily longed to see her unborn child's future, a dream that seemed impossible. But with the camera's unique gift, Ariel was able to capture a moment in time where Emily held her newborn baby, their eyes filled with love and hope. As time went on, Ariel continued to use the camera to bring comfort and joy to people's lives. The camera's power helped couples glimpse their future weddings, individuals reflect on their happiest moments, and those who had lost loved ones remember cherished times together. Ariel's magical camera became a symbol of hope in the forgotten town. It reminded everyone that even in the darkest moments there was a glimmer of light. Ariel had unlocked the power of the past and future, using it to bring happiness and healing to those who had lost all hope. In the end, it was not just the camera's magic that was extraordinary. It was Ariel's unwavering compassion and the love she had for her community that truly made the difference. She became a guardian of moments, just as her magical camera had been for generations, capturing not just images, but the essence of life's most precious memories. The Mystical Cave. I want to tell you a story. Deep within the heart of the dense, ancient forest lay a hidden secret, a place known only to a select few. It was a cave, concealed by centuries of creeping vines and towering trees, whose entrance was known only to the most seasoned of explorers. This cave was rumoured to house mystical crystals, whose inner glow could grant visions of the past and future to those who dared to seek them. Chelsea, a young woman with an insatiable curiosity, had heard the whispers of the cave's existence from the village elders. They spoke of the wonders and mysteries it held, and how it could change the course of one's life. Chelsea was drawn to the cave like a moth to a flame. She spent her days listening to the tales and legends, her imagination weaving visions of what might be hidden within. One crisp autumn morning, Chelsea set off on her journey, determined to uncover the secrets of the cave. Armed with nothing more than a flickering lantern and the knowledge passed down by the elders, she ventured deeper into the heart of the forest. The path grew treacherous as the trees grew older and the silence thicker. Her steps echoed off the gnarled roots, and the whispers of the leaves rustled around her like ghosts. At last, she arrived at the cave's concealed entrance, hidden beneath an overgrown waterfall. Chelsea took a deep breath and stepped inside, her lantern casting eerie shadows on the rough-hewn walls. As she ventured further, the cave opened into a vast, cavernous chamber, its walls lined with crystals of every hue. They shimmered with a soft, ethereal light, casting dancing patterns across the cave's floor. Chelsea was mesmerized, and her heart raced as she approached the closest crystal. Its surface felt cool and smooth to the touch, and as she gazed into its depths, her surroundings blurred. Visions began to emerge, vivid and haunting, like scenes from another world. In one vision, she saw a grand city bathed in golden light, its people rejoicing in peace and harmony. In another, she witnessed a lone figure battling against overwhelming odds, a symbol of unwavering determination. Yet another vision showed her the swirling mists of a distant future where possibilities and choices intermingled. For hours, Chelsea moved from crystal to crystal, each one offering glimpses of lives lived and destinies shaped. She saw joy and sorrow, triumph and despair, and the intricate web of connections that bound all living things. It was a humbling experience, and her heart filled with a newfound understanding of the world. As dawn broke, Chelsea emerged from the cave, her lantern now extinguished. She had been granted a gift beyond measure, the gift of insight into the threads of existence. With a heart full of gratitude, she made her way back to the village, her spirit illuminated by the visions she had witnessed. Chelsea shared her experiences with the villagers, bringing them tales of hope and resilience and cautionary tales of recklessness and greed. The hidden cave became a place of pilgrimage, not just for the curious, but for those seeking guidance and wisdom. The mystical crystals remained hidden, their glow enduring through the ages, offering visions of life's intricate tapestry to all who sought their secrets. The cave's legacy was a reminder that sometimes, in the most unexpected places, the greatest treasures are waiting to be discovered. The Hidden Portal. I want to tell you a story. In the quiet, unassuming town of Everwood, nestled among the rolling hills and dense forests, there existed a secret known to only a select few. This secret was a portal to a parallel world, a place of wonder and enchantment, hidden in plain sight. Everwood was the kind of town where nothing extraordinary ever happened. The townsfolk went about their daily routines, unaware of the extraordinary secret that lay beneath their feet. At the heart of the town, there stood a majestic oak tree, ancient and towering. Its gnarled roots seemed to embrace the earth, as if they held the very soul of the town in their grasp. Little did anyone know, these roots concealed the hidden entrance to the parallel world. Ella, a curious teenager with a penchant for adventure, had always felt a connection to the oak tree. She spent countless hours reading beneath its shade, her imagination running wild with tales of hidden worlds and magical realms. One warm summer afternoon, while she was sitting against the tree, her fingers tracing its bark, a peculiar symbol caught her attention. It was an intricate carving, one she had never noticed before, and it seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. With a mix of trepidation and excitement, Ella traced the symbol with her fingertip. As she did, the ground beneath her began to tremble, and the earth itself seemed to come alive. A hidden door in the tree's roots creaked open, revealing a shimmering portal. Ella's heart raced as she stepped closer, peering into the portal. It was a world unlike anything she had ever seen before. The colours were more vivid, the air was charged with magic, and fantastical creatures roamed the landscape. She could hear the laughter of fairies, the melodious songs of birds she had never seen, and the scent of exotic flowers wafted through the portal. With the courage of a true adventurer, Ella stepped through the portal, leaving behind the mundane world she had always known. In this new realm, she made friends with creatures of myth and legends. She rode on the back of a magnificent unicorn, danced with elves in enchanted forests, and even shared stories with talking animals. But Ella soon realized that the portal was not just a pathway to adventure. It was a bridge between two worlds, each affecting the other. She learned that the parallel world was in grave danger, threatened by a growing darkness. It was a darkness that could spill over into her own world if left unchecked. Determined to save both worlds, Ella embarked on a quest, gathering allies from her own world and the parallel one. With bravery, cunning, and the help of newfound friends, she confronted the looming threat, fighting to preserve the enchanting realm and protect her beloved town of Everwood. In the end, with courage and a dash of magic, Ella managed to seal the portal, preventing the darkness from spreading further. Everwood remained unchanged, its townsfolk blissfully unaware of the hidden secrets beneath the oak tree. Ella, forever changed by her adventures, kept the memory of her time in the parallel world close to her heart. She knew that the town of Everwood would always be a place of magic and mystery, even if its secrets were hidden from view. The Fog of Fear. I want to tell you a story. The small coastal town of Harbour's End was known for its serene beauty. Nestled between towering cliffs and the vast expanse of the sea, it had been a haven for its residents for generations. But on one fateful evening, a mysterious fog rolled in from the ocean, shrouding the town in an eerie, impenetrable mist. The townsfolk watched in awe and trepidation as the thick fog enveloped their homes, transforming the tranquil coastal hamlet into a world of uncertainty. Within moments it became clear that this was no ordinary fog. As the mist crept through the streets, those unfortunate enough to be caught within its grasp found themselves facing their deepest fears. For young Sarah, the fog conjured memories of her parents' tragic car accident. She had been just a child then, and the sight of twisted metal and her parents' lifeless bodies haunted her dreams. In the fog, the scene replayed with horrifying clarity. She screamed and ran blindly through the mist, desperate to escape the nightmare. James, a retired war veteran, was tormented by the memories of the battlefield. The fog transformed into a chaotic war zone, with explosions and gunfire all around. He crouched in the middle of the street, unable to distinguish between past and present, his heart pounding with terror. Evelyn, the elderly librarian, was haunted by the loss of her husband, who had passed away years ago. In the fog, she saw him standing at the end of a long, desolate pier, beckoning for her to join him. The love and longing in his eyes filled her with a bittersweet sorrow that seemed all too real. As the fog continued to weave its sinister illusions, panic spread throughout the town. People ran in all directions, some colliding with each other in their desperate attempts to escape their deepest fears. The once close-knit community was now a fractured assembly of individuals, each battling their own private nightmares. In the midst of the chaos, a group of friends who had grown up together in Harbour's End, Jason, Maria and Mark, found themselves huddled in an alley. They realised that the fog fed on their fears, making them stronger, and running only made it worse. Together they made a decision. They would confront their fears, hoping to weaken the fog's grip on them. Jason, terrified of failure, saw himself as a child, disappointing his parents. But in this moment, he decided to face his fear and take control of his life. Maria, haunted by her childhood accident, found herself back in the car, but this time she was the one in the driver's seat, steering away from danger with a newfound courage. Mark, who had always feared rejection, saw himself on a stage in front of a large audience. He felt the overwhelming anxiety, but decided to take a deep breath and speak his mind. As the three friends faced their fears head-on, they felt the fog's grip slowly begin to loosen. The illusionary nightmares began to dissipate, revealing the familiar streets of Harbour's End once more. The townsfolk, inspired by their bravery, followed suit. One by one, they confronted their deepest fears, breaking free from the fog's malevolent hold. And as the fog lifted, the community came back together, stronger and more resilient than ever. No one ever discovered the source of the mysterious fog, but the people of Harbour's End had learned an invaluable lesson. Sometimes it was in confronting their deepest fears that they found the strength to overcome them, and together they faced a future filled with hope, knowing that their tight-knit community could weather any storm, no matter how mysterious or formidable. The Wind Whisperer. I want to tell you a story. In a quiet village nestled at the foot of a rugged mountain, there lived a curious boy named Aidan. He had a unique gift, the ability to speak to the wind and understand its secrets. This remarkable talent had been passed down through his family for generations, and it had always been a well-guarded secret. Aidan's days were spent like any other child's in the village. He played with friends in the meadows, helped his parents with their farm, and studied under the village elder to learn the ways of wind-talking. At night, he would sneak out to the top of the mountain and converse with the gentle breezes, the fierce gales, and the whispering zephyrs. One summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Aidan climbed to his usual spot at the mountain's peak. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to the wind. At first, nothing happened, but then a soft gust swirled around him. "Tell me your secrets," Aidan murmured. The wind rustled through the trees and began to speak. It told Aidan of far-off lands, of travellers' tales, and the laughter of children in distant villages. It carried the scent of blooming flowers and the taste of salt from the sea. Aidan listened with rapt attention, absorbing the stories and knowledge the wind shared. Days turned into weeks, and Aidan's connection with the wind grew stronger. He discovered that the wind could predict the weather, guiding the villagers to prepare for storms or bask in the warmth of sunny days. Aidan's family recognized the importance of his gift and began to share the wind's wisdom with their fellow villagers. One evening, a tremendous storm brewed on the horizon. Aidan, with the wind's guidance, warned the villagers, helping them secure their homes and livestock. He stood at the edge of the village, arms outstretched as the wind whispered its secrets of the storm's path and fury. Aidan's guidance saved their village from destruction, and he was hailed as a hero. As he grew older, Aidan continued to speak to the wind, becoming a respected member of the village council. He helped the villagers in countless ways, from finding lost animals to discovering hidden water sources during times of drought. He became known as the Wind Whisperer, a guardian of the village and a protector of its people. But with great power came great responsibility. Aidan understood that his gift was not to be taken lightly, and he taught the younger generation the importance of living in harmony with nature. He stressed the need to protect the environment and care for the land that provided them with life. Aidan's life was a testament to the bond between humans and nature, and he had shown his village that the wind was not just a force of nature, but a guardian and friend. As the years passed, the secrets of the wind were cherished, and the village thrived, its people living in harmony with the world around them, all thanks to a young boy who could speak to the wind and understand its secrets. The Truth-Telling Curse. I want to tell you a story. In a quaint remote village nestled deep within a lush forest, there existed a family known as the Viridians. For generations, the Viridians were burdened with a peculiar curse that compelled its victims to tell only the truth. This curse, passed down from one family member to the next, had brought both blessings and misfortunes to the Viridians over the years. It all began with a young woman named Eliza Viridian, who, in her youthful curiosity, ventured into the heart of the forest. She stumbled upon a hidden grove adorned with mystical blooms and ancient gnarled trees. The centerpiece of this grove was a peculiar luminous flower, radiating a captivating ethereal light. As Eliza approached the flower, she couldn't resist the temptation to pluck it. Unbeknownst to her, this simple act triggered a curse that would bind her family for generations. From that day forward, any Viridian who touched the flower would find themselves unable to speak anything but the truth. At first, the villagers saw this as an honourable trait. The Viridians, bound by their truth-telling curse, were admired for their honesty, and their village became known for its integrity. However, with time, the curse revealed its unintended consequences. As the generations passed, the Viridians found themselves in countless predicaments. They struggled to navigate the complexities of human interaction, for the truth, as noble as it was, could be harsh and unforgiving. Personal secrets were unveiled, embarrassing truths were shared, and diplomacy became impossible. The Viridians faced isolation, as no one dared invite a family member into their homes, fearing the unfiltered honesty they brought with them. The curse brought turmoil within the family as well. Arguments escalated quickly, secrets were unearthed, and relationships fractured. Despite their noble intentions, the Viridians' lives were marred by the curse, which had become both a blessing and a burden. One fateful day, a travelling scholar arrived in the village. She had heard of the Viridians' curse and was intrigued by their unique predicament. The scholar spent weeks studying the luminous flower, and with her extensive knowledge, she devised a plan to break the curse that had plagued the Viridians for so long. In a grand ceremony held in the grove, the scholar, guided by ancient texts and rituals, managed to reverse the curse. The luminous flower lost its enchantment, and the Viridians, for the first time in generations, were free to speak with discretion. As the truth-telling curse lifted, the Viridians found themselves embracing their newfound freedom with joy and relief. They now had the choice to speak the truth or to remain silent when necessary. Relationships within the family and the village began to heal, and the village prospered even more as it continued to uphold its reputation for integrity. While the curse had been both a blessing and a burden, it had ultimately taught the Viridians the value of discretion and the importance of balancing truth with empathy. As they moved forward, they cherished their newfound freedom while honouring the lessons their unique family history had taught them, creating a legacy of wisdom and understanding for generations to come. The Enchanted Forest. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a dense, ancient forest, there lay a hidden realm where the trees whispered secrets and the streams sang songs of wisdom. This enchanted forest was unlike any other, for the flora and fauna within it possessed a unique gift, the ability to speak and offer guidance to those who entered their magical domain. One warm and hazy morning, a young woman named Melody ventured into the woods. She had been feeling lost and unsure of her path in life. As she wandered deeper into the forest, the trees rustled their leaves and the flowers nodded their heads, acknowledging her presence. "Welcome, dear traveller," spoke a wise old oak tree, its branches swaying gently. "What brings you to our enchanted realm?" Melody, taken aback by the talking tree, hesitated for a moment before responding. "I seek guidance and wisdom. I've come here in search of answers to questions that have been haunting my mind." The forest seemed to come alive with a soft, ethereal glow, and the trees and creatures whispered among themselves, as if discussing the best way to help her. A graceful deer with eyes filled with ancient knowledge stepped forward. "I am Eric, the guardian of this forest," he said. "The enchanted forest holds the answers you seek, but you must be willing to listen and learn." Melody nodded, her curiosity piqued. She sat down on a mossy rock, ready to embrace whatever wisdom the forest had to offer. The trees began to share their stories. They spoke of patience and resilience, telling tales of how they had weathered countless storms and still stood tall. The streams talked of the importance of adapting, flowing around obstacles, and finding new paths when the old ones were blocked. The flowers shared their lessons on beauty and inner strength, explaining that true beauty comes from within and radiates outwards. As Melody listened, she felt a deep sense of peace and connection with the forest. It was as if the very essence of nature was whispering the answers to her heart's deepest questions. She realized that life was a journey, and like the forest, she had the strength to endure, adapt, and find her inner beauty. Eric, the guardian deer, approached her once more. "Remember, dear traveller, the answers you seek are within you," he said. "Just as this forest has its own wisdom, so do you. Trust your instincts, be patient, and have faith in your own resilience." Melody thanked the forest and its inhabitants for their guidance. With newfound clarity and a heart full of hope, she left the enchanted forest. As she re-entered the outside world, she carried with her the lessons she had learned from the talking trees, the singing streams, and the wise creatures. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she had the strength and wisdom to face them. From that day forward, Melody's life was forever changed. The enchanted forest had given her the guidance she sought, and she was determined to live her life with the same grace, patience, and resilience as the trees, streams, and flowers that had whispered their wisdom to her. The talking, enchanted forest had indeed offered her the answers she needed, and in doing so, it had helped her find her own voice in the world. The Magical Compass. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a small, unassuming village nestled deep within a dense, ancient forest, there lived a young woman named Kendra. She was known for her unwavering curiosity and a deep longing to explore the world beyond the boundaries of her humble home. While the villagers were content with their simple lives, Kendra dreamt of adventure and discovery. One chilly morning, as the sun's first rays pierced through the thick canopy of the forest, Kendra stumbled upon a small, intricately designed compass hidden beneath a tangle of roots. Its ornate golden case gleamed with an other-worldly light, and as she picked it up, she could feel a subtle, mysterious power emanating from it. Unbeknownst to her, this was no ordinary compass. It was a magical compass that had been lost for generations. Legends spoke of its power to guide its bearer to their heart's deepest desires. But there was a catch. To activate the compass's magic, one needed to understand and acknowledge what their heart truly desired. Kendra, her eyes filled with wonder, decided to put the compass to the test. She turned the tiny dial, and the needle inside it began to spin wildly before settling in a direction she'd never ventured before. Following the compass's guidance, she set out on a journey deeper into the forest. The path was dense with overgrown vines and towering trees, and the sounds of nature's orchestra surrounded her. As she walked, Kendra encountered creatures she'd never seen before. Luminescent fireflies that danced in mid-air, talking animals that offered cryptic advice, and whispering trees that shared their wisdom with her. Each encounter, each challenge, only heightened her determination to reach her heart's desire. Days turned into weeks, and still Kendra pressed on. She braved treacherous terrain, faced thunderstorms, and overcame her own fears. With every step, she discovered more about herself and what her heart truly desired. It wasn't wealth or fame that drove her, but a profound desire for knowledge, a thirst for the wonders of the world. Finally, after a long and arduous journey, she arrived at the edge of the forest, the compass needle pointing towards a towering mountain range. Beyond the mountains lay a land she had only heard of in stories, a place of ancient libraries, wise scholars, and untold secrets. Kendra knew she had reached her heart's desire. The moment her foot touched the first stone of the mountain pass, the compass shone with an ethereal light and released a pulse of magic. It soared into the sky and vanished, its purpose fulfilled. Kendra's journey was far from over, but now she had the knowledge, wisdom, and courage to face any challenge that lay ahead. The magical compass had led her to the realization that her heart's desire was an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and discovery, and in the land beyond the mountains, her adventure truly began. In time, she became a revered scholar and explorer, uncovering the world's hidden mysteries and sharing her findings with others. Kendra's name echoed through the ages as a testament to the power of following one's heart and the magical compass that had set her on that extraordinary path. The Glowing Runes. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of the ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the air hummed with mystic energy, there lay a forgotten shrine. It was a place few dared to enter, for the stories told of mysterious glowing runes that adorned its ancient stones. The runes were said to possess the power of prophecy, granting visions of the past, present, and future to those who could decipher their cryptic messages. Helena, a young and inquisitive wanderer, had heard of the shrine's legends. She longed for knowledge and adventure, and the allure of the glowing runes called to her like a siren's song. Armed with her courage and a deep-seated curiosity, she set out on a journey to find the shrine. The forest was dense and treacherous, with shadows that seemed to move on their own and eerie whispers that sent shivers down Helena's spine. After days of wandering, she stumbled upon the shrine, hidden within a glade. Moss-covered stones formed an ancient altar, and the mysterious runes etched into them pulsed with a soft, ethereal light. Helena approached the shrine with trepidation, her heart racing as she reached out to touch the runes. The moment her fingers brushed the symbols, a rush of images overwhelmed her senses. She saw visions of past civilizations, great wars, and the rise and fall of empires. The runes revealed glimpses of distant lands and long-forgotten heroes, as well as the tragedies that had befallen them. The visions shifted, showing Helena glimpses of her present, her family's concerns, the struggles of her village, and the people she loved. Tears welled in her eyes as she realized the burden of knowledge the runes had granted her. The weight of the past and present pressed down upon her, and she knew that she could not leave the shrine without understanding the full extent of its power. With newfound determination, Helena continued to study the runes, deciphering their ancient script and learning to harness their prophecy. Time passed slowly in the shrine's embrace as she delved deeper into the mysteries hidden within the glowing symbols. The forest seemed to protect her, as if it sensed her noble intentions. One day, as Helena gazed upon the runes, a vision of the future emerged before her. She saw a looming catastrophe, a great darkness that threatened to consume her world. The runes, in their cryptic way, revealed a glimmer of hope, a path to avert the impending disaster. Helena left the shrine, armed with knowledge of the past, the present, and the future. She returned to her village, where she shared her newfound wisdom and urged the people to unite and prepare for the looming threat. With her guidance, they began to build alliances, strengthen their defences, and lay the foundation for a brighter future. As the prophecy foretold, the village faced many trials and challenges, but they overcame them, thanks to Helena's guidance. The mysterious glowing runes had not only granted her the power of prophecy, but also the wisdom to change the course of destiny. In time, the great darkness that threatened the world was averted, and Helena's village flourished. The shrine in the ancient forest stood as a reminder of the young wanderer who had unlocked its secrets and changed the fate of her people. Helena, the keeper of the glowing runes, had become a legend herself, leaving a legacy that would be celebrated for generations to come. The Ancient Scroll. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a bustling city, hidden beneath the layers of time, lay an old bookstore known to few. Its wooden sign creaked in the wind, barely visible beneath the encroaching vines and shadows. Elysian Tomes, it read in fading gold letters. Inside, dusty shelves reached towards the ceiling, and the air was heavy with the scent of ancient parchment and secrets. Among the many relics in this curious establishment, there was one treasure that had long remained shrouded in mystery, an ancient scroll. Bound in faded leather and secured with a fragile silk ribbon, it was said to be the key to forgotten spells and incantations that had the power to reshape the very fabric of reality. The scroll's origins were as enigmatic as the powers it promised. Legend had it that it had been unearthed by an intrepid explorer deep within the desolate ruins of an ancient temple. The explorer, whose name had been lost to time, believed the scroll held the secrets of the gods themselves. Fearing its power falling into the wrong hands, they had hidden it away in the most obscure corner of the bookstore. Only a handful of people knew about the existence of the scroll, and fewer still dared to seek its secrets. Among the brave souls was a young woman named Christine, a student of the arcane who had dedicated her life to the study of lost magic. Her curiosity had been piqued by the scroll's whispered legends, and she had spent years perfecting her skills, preparing for the day she would finally lay eyes on it. One stormy night, when lightning cracked across the sky and rain beat a wild rhythm on the bookstore's windows, Christine stood before the scroll's dimly lit case. She felt the presence of the ancient power within and couldn't resist the allure any longer. The silk ribbon gave way under her trembling fingers, and the leather-bound relic unfurled to reveal its secrets. As she began to read the cryptic text, words that had not been spoken for centuries seemed to come to life. She sensed the latent magic that had been trapped within the scroll, coiling around her like a serpentine force. The ancient spells, long lost to time, unfolded before her eyes like an intricate tapestry of power. Each spell held the potential to bend the laws of nature, to control the elements, and to heal or destroy. Over the following weeks, Christine delved deeper into the scroll's mysteries, unlocking spells that allowed her to manipulate time, change her own form, and even communicate with long-forgotten spirits. With each discovery, she grew in power and knowledge. But the ancient magic came with a price. The more she used it, the more it demanded from her in return. As the days turned into months, the city itself began to change. Strange occurrences became common, and the balance of nature was disturbed. People whispered about an unseen force at play, and it was clear that Christine's relentless pursuit of power was disturbing the world's equilibrium. Realizing the dire consequences of her actions, Christine knew she had to find a way to contain the unleashed magic. Her journey to find a solution took her to distant lands, where she encountered other seekers of the scroll's secrets and learned of the ancient temples that had safeguarded such powerful knowledge. Christine eventually found a way to seal the scroll's magic, binding it back into its leather casing. She returned to the bookstore, weary and changed by her quest, and secured the scroll in its case, ensuring that its secrets would remain hidden. Years passed, and the scroll was once again forgotten in the depths of Elysian tomes. The city slowly healed, its people none the wiser about the ancient magic that had almost brought about their undoing. The scroll remained a silent sentinel, a testament to the perilous lure of forgotten spells and incantations, waiting for the next seeker, brave or foolish enough to uncover its secrets and shape the destiny of the world. But perhaps lessons had been learned, and the secrets of the scroll would remain a mystery, buried deep within the annals of time. The Girl Who Spoke to Insects. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled in the heart of a dense forest, there lived a girl named Alice. Alice was not your ordinary girl. She possessed a unique and extraordinary gift. She could hear the thoughts and emotions of insects. From the smallest buzzing fly to the tiniest ant, they all spoke to her in a language only she could understand. It all began when Alice was a young child, exploring the woods near her home. She often spent her afternoons in solitude, observing the world of insects. She would sit among the flowers and listen to the secrets of the grasshoppers, the dreams of the butterflies, and the wisdom of the spiders. It was in these moments that Alice discovered her extraordinary ability. One sunny afternoon, as Alice crouched down to watch a ladybug make its way across a leaf, she was astonished to hear a soft, gentle voice in her mind. "Hello, dear friend," the ladybug whispered. "It's a lovely day, isn't it?" Alice gasped in surprise and delight. She responded to the ladybug in her thoughts. "Yes, it is a beautiful day, and it's even more beautiful now that I can talk to you." From that day forward, Alice's life was filled with conversations with the tiny inhabitants of the forest. She learned about their lives, their struggles, and their dreams. She became a guardian of the woods, helping the insects when they were in need, protecting them from harm, and even mediating disputes between the various critters. One of her dearest friends was a wise old spider named Webster, who lived in a magnificent web woven between two oak trees. Webster often shared his knowledge of the forest with Alice, guiding her to find the rarest of herbs and teaching her the ways of the woods. But as Alice grew older, she realized that her gift was both a blessing and a burden. She could hear the cries of the ants when their tunnels collapsed, the sorrow of the snail when it lost its way, and the joy of the fireflies as they danced in the moonlight. The emotions of the insect world were always with her, and sometimes it was overwhelming. One day, as Alice sat by the brook, she heard a frantic plea from a dragonfly. "Help! Help! My family is in danger!" Alice followed the dragonfly to a pond nearby, where she saw a group of children about to catch the dragonfly's kin in a net. With her unique connection to the insect world, Alice was able to communicate with the children and explain that these dragonflies were not to be caught, but admired from a distance. She also taught them about the importance of respecting all living creatures. In time, Alice's gift became known throughout the town, and people came to her for advice and help with their gardens and insect-related problems. She became a beloved figure in the community, known for her wisdom and her ability to bring harmony between humans and the insect world. Alice's life was a testament to the beauty of the natural world and the power of understanding and compassion. She continued to listen to the thoughts and emotions of insects, sharing their stories and teachings with the world, and in doing so, she made the forest and the hearts of its inhabitants a better place for all. The Siren's Lament. I want to tell you a story. In the quiet coastal town of Ravenshaw, nestled between jagged cliffs and a relentless sea, a legend was whispered from generation to generation. It was a tale of a haunted shipwreck that appeared on the rocky shore during the darkest hours of the night, whispering its story to those who dared to listen. The townsfolk called it the Siren's Lament, a ship that had met its doom in a terrible storm long ago. Its wreckage, they said, had been lost to the depths of the ocean, never to be seen again. But the sea had other plans. Every year, on the anniversary of its fateful sinking, the shipwreck would rise from the watery abyss, emerging from the waves like a phantom. Angela, a curious and brave young woman, had heard the stories since she was a child. The Siren's Lament fascinated her, and she often found herself drawn to the desolate stretch of rocky shoreline where the shipwreck was said to appear. As the date of the anniversary approached, her curiosity grew into an obsession. On the eve of the fateful night, Angela gathered a group of friends who shared her fascination with the legend. They brought lanterns and blankets, ready to witness the spectral ship for themselves. As darkness enveloped the coast, the group huddled together, scanning the horizon for any sign of the cursed vessel. Then, as the clock struck midnight, the sea came alive with an eerie symphony of whispered winds and crashing waves. From the inky depths emerged the ghostly silhouette of the Siren's Lament. Its time-worn timbers creaked and groaned as it settled onto the jagged rocks. Angela and her friends, captivated by the sight, approached the wreck with caution. The ship, though battered and half-consumed by barnacles, was a haunting beauty. As they drew closer, the whispers grew louder, a chorus of lost souls seeking to share their story. Angela pressed her ear against the ship's rotting wood, listening intently. In hushed tones, the ship began to speak of its ill-fated voyage. It told of a captain, driven by greed, who had ignored the warnings of the old sailors and pushed the ship into treacherous waters. It spoke of the terror and chaos as the storm raged, of sailors clinging desperately to the rigging as the ship was torn asunder. But amidst the tales of despair, one voice stood out, a haunting melody that wove through the narrative like a silver thread. It was the voice of the ship's resident musician, a young woman with a voice that had once entranced all who heard it. Her haunting song had lulled the sailors to their doom, leading them to their watery graves. As the story unfolded, tears welled in Angela's eyes. She understood that the ship, like the lost souls on board, was forever bound to the sea, cursed to relive the tragedy that had befallen it. The Siren's lament was a ghostly reminder of the price of hubris and the lure of a deadly beauty. Angela and her friends departed the shipwreck, their hearts heavy with the weight of the tale they had heard. As they looked back, they saw the Siren's lament slowly recede into the crashing waves, disappearing once more into the depths of the sea. The ship's whispers, now distant, echoed in their minds, a haunting reminder of a tragedy that would forever haunt the coast of Ravenshaw. The Avarice Portal. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of the quaint town of Thornwood, nestled within the dimly lit corners of a dusty old antique shop, there hung a cursed painting. Its origins were a mystery, a dark tale lost to the annals of time. The painting, known as the Avarice Portrait, was an unassuming work of art, depicting a tranquil countryside scene with a majestic oak tree at its centre. It was a crisp autumn morning when Laura, a young woman with a penchant for vintage curiosities, discovered the painting. She wandered into the antique shop while searching for unique decorations to furnish her new apartment. Her eyes were drawn to the painting's eerie allure, and the shopkeeper, an elderly man with a glint of trepidation in his eyes, warned her of its dark reputation. "Buy it at your own risk," he cautioned, but Laura's curiosity got the better of her, and she left the store with the cursed painting under her arm. As soon as Laura hung the painting in her living room, its eerie charm began to seep into her soul. She couldn't put her finger on it, but something about the landscape was bewitching. The oak tree's leaves seemed to glisten with promises of endless riches, and the quaint cottages in the distance whispered tales of unending luxury. In the days that followed, Laura started to notice subtle changes within herself. She became more self-absorbed and materialistic, her once generous nature giving way to a relentless desire for wealth and power. Her obsession with money grew, leading her to manipulate friends and co-workers to gain financial advantage. Soon, she had alienated everyone who had ever cared about her. One evening, as Laura stared at the painting, entranced by the allure of endless wealth, she realized the truth. The cursed painting was changing her, and she needed to break free from its malevolent grip. With great effort, she took the painting down from her wall, wrapped it in an old blanket, and set out to find a way to rid herself of its curse. Her journey led her to a reclusive art historian named Dr. Julian Blackwood, a man well versed in the lore of cursed artworks. Dr. Blackwood listened to Laura's story with a mixture of fascination and concern, then explained the painting's sinister history. The Avarice Portrait had been painted by an artist named Lucius Greymore in the 19th century. Greymore, consumed by greed, had used a rare pigment infused with dark magic to create the painting. He intended it to be a reflection of his own desires, a way to siphon the avarice from his soul. Little did he know that the painting would take on a life of its own, influencing anyone who gazed upon it to become more selfish and greedy. To break the curse, Dr. Blackwood proposed a perilous plan. They would need to travel deep into the woods, find the ancient oak tree that inspired the cursed painting, and perform a ritual to transfer the painting's malevolent energy back into the tree. It was a dangerous endeavour, but Laura was determined to free herself from the curse. Armed with knowledge, a few rare artifacts, and an unwavering resolve, Laura and Dr. Blackwood ventured into the woods. They reached the ancient oak tree, and beneath its twisted branches, they performed the ritual. As they chanted incantations and sprinkled enchanted dust, the painting's magic began to unravel, and the curse lifted. The oak tree seemed to sigh with relief as the painting's dark aura dissipated, and the cursed artwork crumbled to dust. Laura felt the change within herself as well, her heart lightening and her desire for wealth winning. Free from the painting's curse, Laura returned to her old self, apologizing to those she had wronged and rekindling the bonds of friendship and love that she had nearly lost. As for the cursed painting, it was no more, and its sinister influence was forever banished to the pages of history. The Andersons' Sacrifice. I want to tell you a story. In a quiet town nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, the Anderson family lived a seemingly ordinary life. But behind closed doors, they harboured a remarkable secret, a power that could control the elements of nature. For generations, their family had harnessed the elements, and they used this gift to protect their town from disasters, ensuring its prosperity and safety. Lucas Anderson, a father of two, had the ability to summon torrents of water, while his wife Sarah could control the ferocity of the wind. Together, they had 3 children, each with their own elemental prowess. Lily could manipulate the earth, Adam could conjure flames, and the youngest, Emma, possessed the power of air. For years, they had kept their powers hidden, working diligently to help their community. When droughts threatened crops, Lucas would summon rain to nourish the soil. When wildfires raged, Adam would extinguish the flames, ensuring no harm befell their neighbours. Sarah would redirect deadly winds away from the town, sparing it from devastation. They were the town's silent protectors, never taking credit for their extraordinary deeds. But their secret power came at a great cost to society. The elements they controlled seemed to be in delicate balance, and each time they altered nature's course, the consequences were felt far beyond the town's borders. For every drought they ended, a neighbouring town experienced one. When they prevented a hurricane from making landfall, it would wreak havoc elsewhere. Their families' actions weighed heavily on their consciences. The more they intervened, the more they saw the world suffering in silence. Sarah, especially, began to question the price they paid to protect their small town. She would sit on the porch, staring at the darkened skies she'd redirected and the storms unleashed upon others. One fateful evening, as they gathered for dinner, the Andersons reached a profound decision. They would no longer manipulate the elements for their town's sake, as the cost to others was too great. It was time for their abilities to remain dormant, and they would help their community through conventional means. The townsfolk, unaware of the Andersons' secret, felt a shift in the balance of nature. They saw more droughts and harsh weather patterns, but they adapted and learned to rely on each other, just as other communities did. The Andersons supported their town through hard work and dedication, fostering unity and resilience among the people. Years passed, and the Andersons' secret became a distant memory. The town faced its fair share of challenges, but it grew stronger, no longer dependent on the family's supernatural abilities. The family had found peace in the knowledge that they were no longer causing harm to others. The cost to society had been too great, and they realized that true harmony could only be achieved by respecting the natural balance of the elements. While they had sacrificed their extraordinary powers, they had gained something far more valuable, the understanding that sometimes it was better to let nature run its course, even if it meant relinquishing control over the elements. The Team of Talking Toys. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a cosy little house nestled on the outskirts of a bustling town, there lived a young girl named Lily. She was an imaginative and kind-hearted child, but what set her apart from other kids her age was her unique ability to communicate with her toys and dolls while she dreamt. Every night, as the moon rose in the sky and the world fell into slumber, Lily's dreams became a magical realm of their own. In her dreams, her room transformed into a whimsical wonderland where her toys and dolls came to life, each with its own distinct personality and story. Lily had a special connection with her oldest and dearest companion, a raggedy, well-loved teddy bear named Mr. Wiggles. In her dreams, Mr. Wiggles became a wise and gentle bear who served as her guide and confidant. He had a soft, reassuring voice that melted away any fears or doubts she might have had. One night, as the moonlight streamed through her window, Lily embarked on an extraordinary dream journey. She found herself standing in the middle of a lush, enchanted forest. All around her, her toys and dolls sprang to life, their stitched smiles and button eyes sparkling with joy. They held a grand assembly to discuss a problem that had arisen in their dream world. The problem was a mischievous and grumpy toy troll, aptly named Grumblebump, who was causing havoc. Grumblebump had stolen the stars from the dream sky, plunging their world into darkness, and was hiding them away in his underground lair. Lily, with Mr. Wiggles by her side, decided to help her dream friends. They embarked on a quest, enlisting the help of a brave action figure, a clever puzzle-solving doll, and a musical toy that could lull even the crankiest creatures to sleep. As they journeyed through the dream forest, they encountered talking animals, glittering streams, and vibrant, luminescent flowers. With each challenge they faced, Lily's connection with her toys and dolls deepened. She realized that her love and imagination were the keys to unlocking their potential. Her belief in her dream friends gave them the strength to overcome the obstacles in their path. They used their unique abilities to outsmart Grumblebump and convince him to return the stolen stars, understanding that darkness could not truly defeat the light of friendship and love. As dawn approached, Lily and her dream friends returned the stars to the dream sky, illuminating the magical world once more. With a sense of accomplishment and a heart filled with gratitude, Lily bid her dream companions farewell. They assured her that they would always be there in her dreams, ready to embark on new adventures and share their wisdom. When Lily awoke, she carried the warmth of her dream world into her everyday life. Her toys and dolls had taught her the importance of imagination, friendship, and the belief that anything was possible when you had a heart filled with love. The adventures she shared with her dream friends continued to inspire her, making her childhood truly extraordinary. The Hidden Cave. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a forgotten forest where the ancient trees whispered secrets only the wind could decipher, there was a hidden cave known to very few. It was said that the cave held a secret, a shimmering pool that revealed glimpses of distant places. For generations, the townsfolk spoke of the cave in hushed tones, as though uttering its name might summon its mysteries to life. Elders would recount tales of brave souls who ventured inside and came back with tales of far-off lands and distant adventures. These stories fired the imaginations of children and kindled the curiosity of explorers. Among those who yearned to unlock the cave's secrets was a young woman named Denise. Her eyes sparkled with an insatiable curiosity, and her heart was filled with a longing for adventure. Guided by the whispers of the forest, she embarked on a journey to uncover the hidden cave. Her path led her through tangled underbrush and over moss-covered rocks until she stood before the yawning entrance of the cavern. The cave's interior was a world of shadows and echoes, where the only sounds were the soft dripping of water and her own heartbeat. Denise ventured further, her torch casting dancing shadows on the walls. The air was heavy with a sense of mystery, and her steps echoed eerily through the chamber. As she reached the heart of the cave, her eyes widened with astonishment. There, before her, lay a pool of water, so clear it seemed as though it were made of liquid crystal. The surface of the pool rippled with an ethereal shimmer, and the ceiling above glittered with a starry radiance that had no apparent source. Drawn to the enchanting pool, Denise knelt beside it, and as she gazed into its depths, her breath caught in her throat. The water seemed to come alive, showing her visions of places she could never have imagined. She saw a bustling market in a distant desert, a snowy mountain-top kissed by the first light of dawn, and a lush, tropical island with golden beaches. Mesmerized by the ever-changing tableau before her, Denise reached out and touched the water's surface. The ripples intensified, and she felt a strange sensation as though she were briefly transported to these far-off places. She saw, heard, and even felt the elements of those foreign lands, if only for a fleeting moment. Denise returned to the cave time and again, her adventures through the shimmering pool enriching her life in ways she could never have imagined. She learned from wise sages, experienced the beauty of remote landscapes, and encountered kindred spirits from different corners of the world. With each glimpse, she carried back stories, knowledge, and experiences to share with her townsfolk. The people of her village soon recognized Denise as a living bridge between their secluded home and the far reaches of the world. The secrets of the hidden cave became a gift that brought new perspectives and wisdom to their lives. As the years passed, the cave's shimmering pool continued to be a source of wonder and enlightenment, reminding those who visited that the world was a vast tapestry of beauty and adventure, waiting to be explored by curious souls like Denise, who dared to seek out its mysteries. The Wise Doll. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a quiet, picturesque town, nestled away on Elm Street, there stood an old, ivy-covered cottage that was home to a most peculiar and mysterious doll. The doll, a porcelain beauty with sapphire eyes and golden curls, had been in the possession of the elderly widow Mrs. Abigail Holloway for as long as anyone could remember. It was said to have been passed down through generations of her family, and its origins were shrouded in obscurity. Mrs. Holloway was an enigmatic woman herself. Widowed for several decades, she lived a solitary life, tending to her garden and reclusive habits. Despite her seemingly ordinary life, the town had long held a deep fascination with her doll. Rumours and stories circulated about the doll's strange abilities, for it was known to talk, to whisper advice and guidance, and offer solace in times of distress. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the town fell under a velvety shroud of darkness, a young woman named Lillian found herself in a quandary. Lillian was a talented artist who had recently lost her way, her once vibrant creativity reduced to mere brushstrokes of uncertainty. She had heard the stories of the talking doll and, in desperation, decided to pay a visit to Mrs. Holloway. With a gentle knock on the cottage door, Mrs. Holloway welcomed Lillian inside. The small, dimly lit living room was filled with the musty scent of old books and the soft glow of candlelight. In the corner of the room sat the mysterious doll, perched on a pristine antique chair. "Welcome, dear," Mrs. Holloway greeted, her eyes sparkling with an otherworldly wisdom. "You've come seeking guidance, haven't you?" Lillian nodded, and with trepidation approached the doll. Its sapphire eyes seemed to gleam with a hidden intelligence, and she whispered, "How can you help me, you beautiful thing?" The doll came to life, her porcelain lips parting, to reveal a voice filled with the grace and serenity of 1,000 years. "In times of uncertainty, my dear, remember that art flows like the river, twisting and turning but always finding its way. Trust in your talents, let your heart guide your brush, and the world will marvel at what you create." Lillian, astonished by the doll's words, felt a sense of renewed purpose welling up within her. She thanked Mrs. Holloway and the doll before leaving the quaint cottage. In the days that followed, Lillian heeded the doll's advice. With each stroke of her paintbrush, she found inspiration flowing from her heart. Her art became a reflection of her emotions, her experiences, and the beauty she saw in the world. People from all over the town marvelled at her newfound talent and the depth of emotion in her work. Lillian visited Mrs. Holloway and her doll several more times, each visit bringing more insight and wisdom to her life. With the doll's guidance, she not only rekindled her artistic flame, but also found the strength to overcome other challenges that had plagued her life. As time passed, the stories of the mysterious talking doll spread throughout the town. People came from far and wide to seek its wisdom, and Mrs. Holloway's cottage became a haven for those in need of guidance. The doll, with its sapphire eyes and golden curls, continued to offer advice and solace to all who sought its wisdom, reminding them that sometimes the most extraordinary things are found in the most unexpected places. The Traveling Hourglass. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a small, dusty antique shop nestled on a quiet corner of a forgotten street, there sat an unassuming hourglass. It was unlike any other hourglass, with its ornate golden frame and a pulsating, otherworldly glow that danced within its glass confines. The shop's owner, an elderly man named Elias, had acquired it from a mysterious traveller who claimed it had the power to reveal the past and future. Skeptical but intrigued, Elias had displayed it in the shop's window, unsure of the tale's authenticity. One overcast afternoon, a young woman named Sarah happened to pass by the shop. She was an archaeologist with a keen interest in the unexplained and the enigmatic, and the hourglass beckoned to her with a strange allure. She entered the store, its time-worn bell jingling above the door. "May I help you?" Elias asked, his voice as creaky as the old wooden floors. Sarah pointed at the hourglass, her eyes wide with curiosity. "What's the story behind this?" Elias sighed, recognizing the telltale look of fascination in Sarah's eyes. "It's said to be a time-traveling hourglass. The traveller I got it from claimed it can show glimpses of the past and the future, but I've never seen it work." Sarah's heart raced. She had dedicated her life to uncovering the mysteries of the past and glimpsing into the future. She couldn't resist the temptation. "May I buy it?" Elias nodded and exchanged the hourglass for a small sum of money. The moment it was in her possession, the pulsating glow within grew brighter and more fervent. She left the shop with the hourglass clutched tightly in her hand. Back in her small apartment, Sarah decided to investigate the hourglass's alleged powers. She placed it on her wooden table, took a deep breath, and turned it upside down. Immediately, she was transported to a time and place unlike any other. She found herself in a bustling medieval marketplace, surrounded by people in attire she'd only ever seen in history books. The vividness of the scene was astonishing, as if she was truly there. She realized she was looking at the past, a living, breathing moment in history. Sarah watched the scene unfold in amazement. Merchants haggled, children played, and knights strode by in shining armour. It was as though she had stepped back in time, a witness to a bygone era. She watched for what felt like hours, her heart pounding with excitement. When she turned the hourglass again, she was thrust into the future. Skyscrapers reached into the clouds, hovercraft zipped through the air, and holographic advertisements adorned the streets. It was a vision of a world unrecognizable, and she marveled at the possibilities and challenges it held. Over the weeks that followed, Sarah used the hourglass to journey to various points in time, absorbing the wisdom of the past and the potential of the future. It gave her a new perspective on her work as an archaeologist and fueled her drive to explore the mysteries of history and the potential of the future. But Sarah soon realized the hourglass's true purpose: to learn from the past, shape the present, and prepare for the future. It was a precious gift, and she had a responsibility to use it wisely. She decided to share her knowledge with the world, advocating for a better understanding of history and a more sustainable future. The hourglass had opened her eyes to the wonders of time, and she intended to make the most of it. Sarah became a renowned historian, teaching others the lessons she had learned from her extraordinary journey through time. And so, with the enigmatic time-travelling hourglass as her guide, Sarah embarked on a lifelong mission to unveil the secrets of the past and shape a brighter future for generations to come, proving that even the most unassuming artifacts could hold the power to change the world. The Boy with the Ghostly Gift. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a small picturesque village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young boy named Ethan. From an early age, Ethan possessed a unique gift, or perhaps it was a curse. He could see and speak to ghosts that lingered in the mortal realm. While most children played with friends from the village, Ethan found himself drawn to the spectral figures that populated his world. The village of Wisteria was known for its charming, half-timbered cottages and cobblestone streets. But it was also known for its long history, filled with tales of lost souls and restless spirits. For generations, those who had departed this world often found themselves tethered to the mortal realm, unable to move on to the afterlife. Ethan's gift had been passed down through his family, and his grandmother had been the last in the line to carry it. She had guided him, teaching him to respect the spirits and offer solace to those who were trapped. One sunny afternoon, as he explored the village's centuries-old cemetery, he encountered a particularly sorrowful spirit. The ghost, a young woman named Eliza, had died tragically in a carriage accident many years ago. She appeared to Ethan as a faint, misty figure with mournful eyes. Her voice, like a whisper of the wind, trembled as she spoke. "Can you see me, young boy?" Ethan nodded, his heart filled with empathy. "Yes, I can see you, Eliza. Why are you still here?" Tears welled up in Eliza's eyes, and her voice quivered as she recounted the story of her untimely death. She had been on her way to meet her beloved, but the carriage had toppled down a steep hill, taking her life before she could say her final goodbye. Her spirit had been wandering aimlessly ever since. Ethan's heart ached for Eliza. He promised to help her find closure and set her soul free. Together they began a journey to unravel the mysteries of her death, piecing together the past from dusty old books and the memories of elderly villagers. As days turned into weeks, Ethan and Eliza grew closer. They explored the secrets of the village and discovered long-forgotten letters and diaries that shed light on the past. With each revelation, Eliza's spirit grew brighter, her connection to the mortal world growing stronger. One evening, they uncovered the truth behind Eliza's death. It had been no accident, but a sinister plot by a jealous suitor. Armed with this knowledge, they confronted the guilty party, who had long since passed away but was still trapped in the afterlife. With Ethan's help, they convinced him to confess to his heinous crime, finally freeing both Eliza and his own tormented soul. The village of Wisteria was forever changed by the events that unfolded. Ethan's ability to communicate with the spirits became well known, and he was respected as a guardian of both the living and the departed. He continued to help lost souls find peace and closure, ensuring that they could move on to the afterlife, while also preserving the history and the stories of the village. As he grew older, Ethan knew that his gift was both a burden and a blessing, but he had come to understand that it was a part of who he was, and he embraced his role as a bridge between the worlds of the living and the dead. Through his compassion and dedication, he not only helped countless spirits find peace, but also brought a sense of unity to the village of Wisteria, where the living and the departed coexisted in harmony, thanks to the boy who could see and speak to ghosts. The Writer's Haven. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint book-filled corner of a sleepy little town, there stood an unassuming bookstore named Writer's Haven. It was a place of wonder and mystery, known far and wide for its peculiar collection of books. In the heart of this store, hidden among the dusty shelves, lay the most extraordinary book of them all, the Chronicle of Imagination. The Chronicle was an unassuming tome, its cover plain and leather-bound. To the casual observer, it appeared no different from the rest, but those who knew its secrets treasured it above all else. The book was whispered to be enchanted, for it possessed the remarkable ability to craft its own stories and bring them to life. The keeper of the Writer's Haven, an elderly woman named Eliza, was the sole guardian of the Chronicle. Her eyes, ancient and wise, held the knowledge of centuries spent nurturing this magical tome. Every night, she would retire to a cosy nook in her store, surrounded by flickering candlelight, and let the Chronicle work its wonders. The stories it penned were vivid and enchanting. They transcended the boundaries of imagination and reality, blending the two in a harmonious dance. There were tales of dragons that soared through the skies, forests that whispered secrets, and pirates who searched for lost treasure. The characters leaped off the pages, their voices echoing in the quiet corners of the bookstore. One evening, a young girl named Lara wandered into Writer's Haven. She was an orphan with a wild imagination, seeking refuge from the storms of life. Her eyes fell upon the Chronicle of Imagination, and as she reached out to touch it, Eliza approached with a knowing smile. "Ah, young one, you found the most remarkable book in all the world," Eliza said. "Would you like to see its magic?" Lara nodded, her eyes shining with curiosity. Eliza placed the book in her hands and began to whisper incantations known only to her. The chronicle responded to her touch, and its pages began to rustle as if caught in a gentle breeze. To Lara's amazement, words appeared on the pages, forming a story that unfolded before her very eyes. It was a tale of a young girl much like herself, who discovered a hidden world filled with talking animals, glowing mushrooms, and endless adventure. As the words flowed from the book, the world it described came to life around her. Lara was no longer in Writer's Haven, but in the Enchanted Forest from the Chronicles story. She could hear the laughter of the talking animals and the wind rustling through the towering trees. She felt alive, truly alive, for the first time in her young life. As she journeyed through this enchanted world, Lara encountered challenges and discovered her own inner courage. The adventure was more real than any she could have ever imagined, and she knew that she was part of the story, her destiny intertwined with the book's magic. Days turned into weeks, and Lara's absence from the bookstore raised concerns. Eliza, worried but hopeful, continued to watch over the Chronicle of Imagination, waiting for the day when the book would return its story to its pages. And return it did. Lara appeared one evening clutching the chronicle, her eyes filled with wonder and tales of her own adventures. She had grown not just in stature but in spirit. The story she had lived had changed her, and her heart was now as enchanted as the book itself. As the years passed, Writer's Haven became a sanctuary for those in search of a magical adventure, all inspired by the remarkable Chronicle of Imagination. The bookstore thrived, and the tales it shared transformed lives, reminding those who entered that, in a world filled with enchantment, one only needed an open heart and a little imagination to discover the magic hidden within their own story. The Haunted Cane. I want to tell you a story. In the quaint town of Willowbrook, nestled in the shadow of an ancient forest, there lived an elderly man named Arthur. Arthur was known far and wide for his wealth of stories, most of which revolved around his mysterious cane. It was a twisted, gnarled piece of wood that he claimed was a family heirloom passed down through generations. This cane was said to possess the power to grant wishes, but with one eerie catch: the wishes came true, but with unintended and often unsettling consequences. One chilly autumn evening, Arthur invited a group of curious townsfolk to his cosy cottage, a place where the fire's warm glow danced with the shadows, and the aroma of spiced apple cider hung in the air. He offered to demonstrate the cane's power, and the room hushed in anticipation. A young woman named Emily, whose life had been plagued by loneliness, volunteered to make a wish. She held the cane with trembling hands, her heart pounding with hope. "I wish for a companion who will never leave my side," she said. In an instant, a small, furry creature appeared at her feet. It was a raccoon, its eyes gleaming with an eerie intelligence. Emily was taken aback, but she couldn't deny the animal's charm. It followed her everywhere, and soon enough, her solitude seemed to disappear. But as the days passed, the raccoon's presence grew more unsettling. It whispered strange secrets to her, and its eyes held a haunting glint that sent shivers down her spine. Next was a farmer named Daniel, burdened by failing crops and mounting debts. He wished for a bountiful harvest, imagining fields bursting with golden wheat and plump, juicy apples. The very next morning, his crops had indeed flourished, but they had taken on grotesque shapes as if twisted by some dark magic. He harvested pumpkins that grinned menacingly, and ears of corn with sharp, jagged teeth that seemed to mock his misfortune. As the evening wore on, Arthur's guests grew wary, but a sense of curiosity and longing still hung in the air. An old musician named Samuel couldn't resist the temptation. He wished for unparalleled musical talent, hoping to enrapture audiences with his melodies. His fingers danced across his violin strings, producing the most hauntingly beautiful music ever heard. People wept and cheered, unable to resist the enchanting tune. But with each note, Samuel's skin grew paler, and his eyes lost their spark as the music sapped away his vitality. In a panic, Arthur seized the cane from Samuel's trembling hand and spoke a wish of his own. He wished for the power to undo the unintended consequences of the cane. In a flash of light, the raccoon vanished, the grotesque crops withered away, and Samuel's music returned to its original, mediocre state. But the cane had extracted its price from Arthur too. The years had caught up with him, and he aged decades in an instant, leaving him frail and haggard. The haunted cane had demonstrated its power once more, teaching the townsfolk a valuable lesson about the dangers of seeking shortcuts to their desires. They left Arthur's cottage that night, changed and humbled, knowing that true happiness came from the journey, not from the elusive magic of a twisted, gnarled cane. And as for Arthur, he retired the cane to a hidden corner, forever haunted by the wishes it had granted and the unintended consequences it had unleashed upon the world. The Painting Visitor. I want to tell you a story. In a picturesque town nestled among rolling hills, a young girl named Serenity resided. Serenity was a dreamer, and her favourite escape from the mundane reality was the town's art gallery. The gallery was a treasure trove of creativity, housing paintings from renowned artists as well as local talents. But what set this gallery apart was Serenity's extraordinary ability. Serenity had always possessed a peculiar gift. She could enter the world of paintings and interact with their subjects. The magical encounter had first occurred when she was just a child, standing before a vivid landscape of a sun-kissed meadow. As she touched the canvas, a warm breeze enveloped her, and the world within the painting sprang to life. This gift, known to only a few close friends, was Serenity's best-kept secret. She would often spend hours at the gallery, stepping into the stories told by the brush strokes and colours. Each painting was a portal to a different world, and she relished her adventures within them. One day, while exploring the gallery, Serenity came across a peculiar painting titled The Masquerade. It was a grand ballroom scene, filled with masked figures elegantly dressed in 18th century attire. Serenity was captivated by the enigmatic expressions on the faces of the people in the painting. Their masks concealed their emotions, and she was intrigued by the air of mystery that surrounded them. As Serenity touched the canvas, she was immediately transported into the grand ballroom. The music was enchanting, and the whirl of dancers twirling in their elaborate gowns and suits was mesmerizing. She found herself wearing a magnificent dress, her face adorned with a delicate mask. No one seemed to notice that she was an outsider. Serenity danced and mingled with the masked figures, trying to engage them in conversation, but their replies were cryptic. She could see the longing and despair behind their masks, but the mystery of their identities remained. She was determined to uncover their secrets. As the night wore on, Serenity met a masked gentleman who appeared different from the rest. His eyes revealed a profound sadness that drew her in. They danced together, their silent communication growing stronger with each step. Finally, in the quietest corner of the ballroom, the gentleman whispered his name to her, Lucian. Serenity learned that Lucian was trapped in the painting, a prisoner of his own masquerade, and the only way to free him was to uncover the truth behind the masks. They embarked on a quest to unveil the secrets that bound the figures to their painted world. As they began to peel away the layers of deception, the masks began to crack, revealing the emotions and stories that lay beneath. One by one, the figures in the masquerade were set free, and the once static painting came to life. The grand ballroom transformed into a vibrant, real-world celebration as the subjects stepped out of the canvas, filled with gratitude and joy. Lucien, now unmasked, was released from his centuries-old confinement. As the last figure emerged, Serenity found herself standing in the gallery once more. The masquerade, now a beautiful, empty frame. She knew she had changed the lives of those trapped within that painting and felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Over the years, Serenity continued to explore the world of paintings, unlocking the secrets of other artworks and becoming an unsung hero to countless souls confined within the strokes of a brush. The art gallery became a place of wondrous adventure where she brought life to the beautiful yet hidden stories of the canvas, all while keeping her extraordinary gift a secret from the world. The Elorian Glade. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a quiet, forgotten forest, there lay a hidden enchanted garden known only to a few lucky souls. This secret oasis, concealed by ancient trees and wild undergrowth, was a place where time danced to a different rhythm. The moment you stepped foot inside, it felt as though the world outside ceased to exist. The garden, known as Elorian Glade, was a place of wonder and mystery. The flowers in Elorian Glade bloomed brighter, their petals shimmering with colours beyond imagination. Trees reached for the heavens with branches that sparkled in the dappled sunlight, and the air itself seemed to hum with a magical energy. But the most extraordinary aspect of Elorian Glade was its effect on those who entered. Time within its boundaries moved faster, and yet the people who ventured into the garden were gifted with incredible strength. It was said that an hour spent in Elorian Glade was but a minute in the outside world. People marvelled at the way the world unfolded within the garden. Bella, a curious and adventurous soul, had heard whispers of this hidden haven from her grandmother. One day, she decided to embark on a quest to find Elorian Glade. Armed with her grandmother's cryptic map, Bella followed winding trails through the forest, past the ancient moss-covered rocks, and finally, she stumbled upon a hidden entrance. She pushed aside a curtain of ivy to reveal the enchanted garden in all its glory. As soon as she stepped through the ivy-covered archway, Bella felt a rush of energy and a sense of wonder. The garden seemed to be alive with an otherworldly power. Time indeed moved differently here, and it was easy to lose track of it. But what amazed Bella the most was her newfound strength. She could leap over streams in a single bound, lift boulders that would have taken several men to move, and run faster than the wind. Bella spent days in Elorian Glade, her heart filled with joy and her muscles growing more powerful with each passing moment. She marvelled at the beauty of the place, the vibrant flora, and the songs of the birds that seemed to linger in the air. But Bella soon realised that this enchanting garden had its price. Every minute she spent in Elorian Glade meant that many hours passed outside. She was growing stronger, but her family and friends were aging far more quickly. She knew she couldn't stay forever. Reluctantly, Bella made her way to the ivy-covered archway, stepping out of the garden's magical embrace. As she emerged back into the forest, the world outside rushed around her, and she realised that years had passed in what felt like mere moments. Her grandmother, who had once whispered stories of the hidden oasis, was now an old woman. Bella embraced her grandmother and shared the tale of her incredible adventure in Elorian Glade. Though time had taken its toll on those she loved, she had brought back not only her memories but the strength and wisdom to cherish the moments of the present. Elorian Glade remained hidden, a timeless secret known to only a few. But for Bella, it would forever be a place of wonder, a garden where time moved faster, but where the gift of strength and the memories of its enchantment would last a lifetime. The Cursed Amulet. I want to tell you a story. In a small picturesque village nestled deep within the dense ancient forests, a legend whispered from one generation to the next. It spoke of a cursed amulet, hidden away for centuries in the heart of the woods. This amulet was said to have the power to reveal hidden truths and unveil long-buried secrets, but at a grave cost to its possessor. The tale told of a young woman named Scarlet, who had disappeared into the woods in search of the amulet. Scarlet was an enigmatic figure, known for her unwavering curiosity about the world's mysteries. Her passion for the unknown had led her to delve deep into the village's folklore, and she became consumed with the legend of the amulet. Determined to uncover the truth hidden within it, she ventured into the woods, leaving her village behind. Scarlet's journey was fraught with peril. The ancient forest was dense, tangled, and shrouded in an eerie, ever-present mist. She fought through thorns and brambles, her path lit by the silvery glow of the moon. As she pushed deeper into the woods, the legends whispered through her mind, making her even more resolute. Days turned into weeks, and finally, Scarlet reached a clearing where an old, gnarled oak tree stood tall and wise. There, hanging from a branch like a dewdrop on a leaf, was the amulet she sought. It was a simple, unassuming pendant made of polished obsidian with a crimson gem at its centre. But Scarlet knew that its beauty masked its curse. She carefully took the amulet and held it in her trembling hands. It pulsed with an eerie energy, and when she put it around her neck, it seemed to settle, warm and comforting. The moment she donned the amulet, the forest around her transformed. She could hear the whispers of the trees and the secrets of the animals. Her very surroundings seemed to unravel their mysteries before her eyes. But the curse of the amulet quickly became apparent. It not only revealed the hidden truths of the world around her, but also the truths she had tried to keep hidden within herself. Her past mistakes and regrets surfaced, casting a shadow on her soul. She saw the pain she had caused others and the pain she had inflicted on herself. It was a tormenting revelation. Days turned into nights, and Scarlet's journey of self-discovery took her deep into the heart of the forest. The amulet did not allow her to rest, constantly urging her to confront the truths she had avoided for so long. She confronted the ghosts of her past, mended broken relationships, and found forgiveness within herself. Finally, when Scarlet had come to terms with her past and made amends for her mistakes, the amulet's pulsations grew weaker. It no longer whispered the hidden truths and secrets. Its power had been exhausted, but Scarlet had been set free from the curse. She left the amulet hanging from the oak tree, no longer a prisoner of her past or the amulet's enchantment. Her journey through the forest had been one of both discovery and redemption, and she returned to her village wiser and at peace with herself. The legend of the cursed amulet lived on, a reminder that the pursuit of truth could be both enlightening and perilous. Scarlet's story became a testament to the enduring power of redemption and the strength of the human spirit to face the darkest truths, even when they were hidden within. The Shapeshifting Clan. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, nestled in a quaint, sun-dappled village, there lived a remarkable family with a most extraordinary gift. The McLarens, known to the villagers as the Shapeshifting Clan, possessed the uncanny ability to transform into various animals. They used their powers to protect their village, a secret they had guarded for generations. The McLaren family consisted of 4 members: Aidan, the father; Eliza, the mother; Liam, their teenage son; and Mia, their spirited young daughter. Each of them had a unique connection to a particular group of animals. Aidan had an affinity for birds, Eliza for mammals, Liam for reptiles, and Mia for aquatic creatures. On a sunny afternoon, as the family gathered in their lush garden, a commotion in the village square caught their attention. A ferocious wild boar had ventured into the heart of their peaceful village, sending panic and chaos through the streets. Villagers scattered in fear as the beast wreaked havoc. Without hesitation, the McLarens knew it was their time to step in. Aidan transformed into a magnificent eagle, soaring into the sky to keep an eye on the situation from above. Eliza shifted into a swift and graceful cheetah, her eyes locked on the charging boar. Liam, with a deep breath, became a sleek and agile snake, slithering through the crowd to divert the boar's attention. Mia, the youngest of the clan, became a sleek and graceful dolphin, ready to assist if the boar tried to escape into the river. The villagers watched in awe as the McLarens worked in perfect harmony. Aidan, as the eagle, signalled the others with precise calls and gestures. Eliza, in her cheetah form, used her speed to distract and lure the boar away from the town square. Liam, the serpent, moved with stealth and precision, making sure the beast wouldn't harm anyone. And Mia, in her dolphin form, waited patiently in the river, ready to intervene if the boar took the wrong turn. It took the family great effort and coordination, but eventually they managed to guide the boar away from the village and into the surrounding forest. Aidan, still in his eagle form, kept a vigilant watch to ensure the boar didn't return. With the danger averted, the McLarens reverted to their human forms and returned to the village, where they were met with cheers and gratitude from their fellow villagers. The shape-shifting family had once again proven their dedication to protecting their home. The McLarens' secret was safe, and they continued to live a quiet, unassuming life in their idyllic village. But whenever trouble loomed, they were always ready to don the forms of the animals they cherished and defend the place they called home. The extraordinary gift that ran in their bloodline served as a reminder that sometimes the most remarkable heroes come in the most unassuming packages, and the bonds of family can overcome any obstacle. The town of Crescent Hollow. I want to tell you a story. In the quiet town of Crescent Hollow, something extraordinary happened every night. The townsfolk had a unique relationship with the moon, one that went far beyond mere lunar phases. In Crescent Hollow, the moon held sway over the dreams and nightmares of its residents. Nestled in a valley surrounded by dense forests, the town had a peaceful and unassuming charm during the day. But as night fell and the moon rose high in the sky, the true magic of Crescent Hollow came to life. The moon, seemingly larger and brighter in this little corner of the world, had an enchanting power. It whispered to the sleeping minds of the townspeople, influencing their dreams and nightmares. The townsfolk had embraced this nightly occurrence with open hearts and open minds. They believed that the moon's influence was a gift, an insight into the inner workings of their souls. Each dream was a piece of the person's spirit, a glimpse into their desires, fears, and unspoken yearnings. The dreams were vivid and fantastical, painting a landscape of wonder and enchantment. Some dreamed of soaring through the starry skies, others of conversing with mystical creatures hidden in the forest. The moon stirred creativity, inspiring artists and writers to create masterpieces they never thought possible. It was said that poets could hear verses whispered by the moon herself in their dreams. But the moon was not all benevolence. It also held the power to manifest nightmares. In Crescent Hollow, a nightmare was seen as a confrontation with one's inner demons, a necessary step towards personal growth and self-discovery. These nightmares were vivid and terrifying, pushing the dreamer to face their deepest fears. One moonlit night, a young woman named Elara had a particularly haunting nightmare. She found herself lost in an endless maze, pursued by shadowy figures that seemed to feed on her fear. She awoke in a cold sweat, but as she caught her breath, she realized that she had a newfound understanding of her anxieties and unresolved issues. She felt stronger, knowing that she had confronted her fears head-on. The townsfolk often gathered during the day to share their dreams and nightmares, using them as a form of communal therapy. They believed that by openly discussing their nocturnal experiences, they could help each other grow and heal. The moon, they thought, was not just a celestial body, but a powerful guide to their inner worlds. Over time, Crescent Hollow gained a reputation as a place of remarkable mental and emotional resilience. Visitors from far and wide came to experience the unique connection the town had with the moon, hoping to find answers to their own inner conflicts. Many found solace in the moonlit nights, taking home the lessons learned in the dreams and nightmares of Crescent Hollow. In this extraordinary town, the moon wasn't just a celestial body, but a celestial confidant, a silent counselor that illuminated the paths of its residents' hearts and souls. In Crescent Hollow, the moon whispered the secrets of the human spirit, reminding them that even the darkest night could lead to the brightest dawn. The Great Bear. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of an ancient and enchanted forest, where sunlight filtered through the towering trees like golden threads, there lived a mystical bear named Orion. Orion was no ordinary bear. He possessed the extraordinary ability to speak and foresee future events. His fur shimmered with hues of silver and gold, and his eyes sparkled with the wisdom of ages. The animals of the forest revered Orion, seeking his guidance in times of uncertainty. Birds perched on branches, waiting for him to share his visions, and the rustling leaves whispered tales of his mystical prowess. One day, as the forest bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, a young fox named Luna approached Orion. She had heard of his gift and sought his counsel. "Great Orion," Luna spoke with reverence, "I am lost and unsure of my path. Can you guide me through the shadows of the unknown?" Orion nodded sagely, his deep voice resonating through the tranquil woods. "Fear not, young one. The tapestry of fate unfolds before me, and I see a journey that will test your courage and lead you to a destiny intertwined with the threads of time." With those words, Orion closed his eyes, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. Visions cascaded through his mind like a river of light, revealing the challenges and triumphs that awaited Luna. As Luna ventured into the world, Orion's reputation spread, drawing creatures from all corners of the woods seeking his insights. Squirrels, rabbits, and even wise old owls gathered around him, their eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and curiosity. Word of Orion's abilities reached a distant realm, where a weary group of travellers embarked on a perilous quest. Among them was a humble human named Eleanor, seeking to unravel the mysteries of her own destiny. Guided by the whispers of the wind and the tales of the animals, Eleanor reached the heart of the Enchanted Forest. There, under the towering canopy, she beheld the majestic Orion. "Great Orion," Eleanor began, "I seek the knowledge of what lies ahead. Can you share with me the path that fate has woven for my journey?" Orion, his gaze piercing the fabric of time, revealed the intricacies of Eleanor's destiny. The tapestry unfolded, showing her challenges that would test her resolve and victories that would shape the course of her life. As Eleanor embarked on her quest, carrying the wisdom of the mystical bear in her heart, the animals of the enchanted forest watched with anticipation. The tales of Orion's foresight echoed through the ages, ensuring that his legend would endure as long as the ancient trees stood tall and the magical winds whispered through the leaves. The Ancient Tapestry. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a dense, enchanted forest stood the ruins of an ancient castle. Its crumbling walls whispered tales of a forgotten kingdom that once thrived within its embrace. Legends spoke of a mysterious tapestry hidden deep within the castle's depths, a relic said to unravel the secrets of the lost realm. Elena, an adventurous historian with an insatiable curiosity, heard the tales and couldn't resist the allure of the castle's enigma. Guided by old maps and cryptic notes, she traversed the overgrown paths until she stood before the ancient structure, cloaked in the fading light of twilight. The castle seemed to sigh with the weight of centuries, and the air hung thick with anticipation. Undeterred by the ivy-laden entrance, Elena delved into the castle's interior. Torchlight flickered, casting dancing shadows on the decaying walls as she navigated the labyrinthine corridors. At last, she entered a chamber bathed in an otherworldly glow, where the mysterious tapestry awaited. The tapestry, woven from threads of gold and silver, depicted scenes of a majestic kingdom long forgotten by time. Kings and queens ruled with wisdom, their subjects thriving in prosperity. Cities adorned with spires touched the sky, and magic flowed through the air like a gentle breeze. Yet the tapestry revealed the kingdom's inevitable decline, a darkness that crept in, devouring the once vibrant land. As Elena traced her fingers along the ancient threads, the tapestry came to life. She witnessed battles against mythical beasts, alliances formed and shattered, and the rise and fall of rulers. The history unfolded before her eyes in a mesmerizing dance of colors and patterns. Each thread held the collective memories of a forgotten era. One particular scene seized Elena's attention, a lone figure, cloaked in shadows, manipulating events from the shadows. It was a sorcerer, wielding forbidden magic to bend the kingdom to his will. The tapestry revealed his name, Mordrin, a name erased from history, but now echoing through the corridors of time. Determined to unveil the truth, Elena set out to discover the reasons behind Mordrin's betrayal and the kingdom's demise. The tapestry became her guide, leading her through hidden chambers and forgotten passages. As she uncovered the past, she felt the weight of responsibility. The ancient tale bound her to a quest to restore the kingdom's memory and redeem its lost glory. Elena emerged from the castle, the tapestry carefully rolled in her hands. The forest, once shrouded in mystery, seemed to whisper its approval as she embarked on a journey to unveil the truth and revive the forgotten kingdom. The threads of the ancient tapestry now intertwined with her destiny, and the echoes of the past guided her toward a future where the kingdom's legacy would be remembered once more. The Magical Lantern. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and whispering woods, there existed a legend about a magical lantern that held the power to guide those who sought to reunite with their lost loved ones. The village was known for its close-knit community, where everyone shared their joys and sorrows. However, like any other place, it was not immune to the pain of separation. Families faced the heartache of losing loved ones to distant lands, unforeseen circumstances, or the passage of time. In the heart of the village, an old storyteller named Ilara would weave enchanting tales of hope and magic. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and stars adorned the night sky, Ilara shared the story of the mystical lantern that lit the way to lost loved ones. Legend had it that the lantern was hidden deep within the Enchanted Forest, a mysterious realm that only the pure-hearted could enter. It was said that the lantern was crafted by ancient spirits who understood the profound ache of separation. The soft glow of its ethereal light could pierce through the darkest of nights, guiding those who sought their beloved kin. News of the magical lantern spread like wildfire through the village, capturing the hearts of those who longed for the warmth of lost embraces. Among the hopeful, a young woman named Lila, who had lost her brother to a distant war, decided to embark on a journey to find the lantern. Braving the mystical creatures and bewitched foliage of the enchanted forest, Lila followed the whispers of the wind and the guidance of the ancient trees. After days of wandering, she stumbled upon a clearing where a radiant lantern hung from a gnarled branch. The lantern pulsed with a gentle, comforting light as Lila approached. With a trembling hand, she touched its surface, feeling a surge of warmth and connection. In that moment, the lantern recognized her pure intent and love for her lost brother. Guided by the lantern's luminous glow, Lila navigated the winding paths of the forest until she emerged into a breathtaking realm bathed in celestial light. There, she found herself reunited with her long-lost brother, standing in a meadow surrounded by blooming flowers and the soft murmur of a crystal-clear stream. The magical lantern had fulfilled its purpose, bringing joy and rekindling the bonds of family. From that day forward, the village cherished the legend of the lantern, passing down the story from generation to generation. Those who carried the weight of separation found solace in the belief that, somewhere within the enchanted forest, the magical lantern continued to light the way to lost loved ones. The Enchanted Runes. I want to tell you a story. Deep within the heart of the enchanted forest, hidden beneath the twisted roots of ancient trees and tangled vines, lay a forgotten chamber. This chamber, concealed from the prying eyes of the world, held a set of haunted ancient runes that possessed an ominous power. Legend spoke of these runes as the key to unlocking spells of unimaginable potency. The runes were etched into a large circular stone at the centre of the chamber. The air within the chamber crackled with an otherworldly energy, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets long lost to time. The runes glowed with an ethereal light, casting eerie shadows on the cavernous walls. Generations of wizards and sorcerers had sought the chamber, drawn by the tales of the powerful spells that could be unleashed by deciphering the cryptic symbols. However, the runes were not easily mastered. Many who dared to approach the ancient stones were met with illusions and haunting apparitions, their minds tested and tormented by the malevolent spirits that guarded the magical knowledge. Among those who sought the runes was the young and ambitious sorceress Veronica. Her fascination with the arcane arts drove her to venture deep into the Enchanted Forest, braving its mystical perils in pursuit of the ancient chamber. Guided by cryptic maps and ancient scrolls, she navigated through the twisted paths until she reached the hidden entrance. As Veronica entered the chamber, the air became heavy with magic. The runes flickered, sensing the presence of a new seeker. The chamber seemed alive, and Veronica felt the weight of the spirits watching her every move. Undeterred, she began to study the runes, deciphering the symbols with a combination of her knowledge and intuition. As she progressed, the haunting whispers grew louder, and ghostly images danced around her. Yet, Veronica pressed on, driven by the desire to unlock the secrets within. Days turned into nights, and Veronica's determination never wavered. She faced illusions that tested her deepest fears and encountered spectral guardians who challenged her resolve. Slowly, she began to understand the true nature of the runes and the spells they guarded. Finally, with a surge of magical energy, the runes revealed their secrets to Veronica. The chamber trembled, and the air crackled with power. The young sorceress felt the ancient knowledge coursing through her veins, granting her command over spells that could reshape reality itself. Veronica emerged from the Enchanted Forest, her eyes aglow with newfound power. The once haunted runes now lay dormant, their secrets passed on to the one who had proven herself worthy. The world would soon feel the impact of Veronica's mastery, as she embarked on a journey to wield the ancient spells responsibly and shape the fate of both magic and mortals. The Boy Who Saw Through Animals. I want to tell you a story. In a small village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a boy named Ethan. Ethan was an ordinary-looking boy with tousled brown hair and curious green eyes, but he possessed an extraordinary gift. He could see the world through the eyes of animals. This unique ability had been with him since he was a young child. It all started one sunny afternoon, when Ethan found a wounded bird in the backyard. As he gently cradled the injured creature in his hands, something extraordinary happened. Suddenly, he could perceive the world from the bird's perspective, the wind rushing through its feathers, the fluttering leaves below, and the vast sky stretching above. As Ethan grew older, he discovered that his connection with animals went beyond birds. He could see through the eyes of dogs, cats, rabbits, and even insects. Each experience brought a new and fascinating perspective to his life. One day, as he strolled through the village, Ethan noticed a stray dog wandering alone. With a soft smile, he crouched down and extended his hand. As their eyes met, a connection formed, and Ethan was transported into the canine world. He felt the excitement of chasing after a squirrel, the warmth of the sun on his fur, and the loyalty that bound a dog to its human. Word spread about Ethan's extraordinary gift, and soon the villagers sought his help in understanding their pets or solving problems with the local wildlife. Ethan became a bridge between the human and animal worlds, fostering a deeper understanding and connection between the two. One day, a mysterious owl perched on the windowsill of Ethan's room. Intrigued, he reached out, and his vision expanded to the silent flight of the nocturnal bird. Through its eyes, he glimpsed the moonlit landscape and the secrets hidden within the shadows. As Ethan grew older, he realized the responsibility that came with his gift. He became an advocate for the protection of wildlife and the environment. Through his unique perspective, he conveyed the interconnectedness of all living beings. In the end, Ethan's ability to see the world through the eyes of animals not only enriched his own life, but also inspired those around him to cherish and respect the diverse forms of life that shared their world. His story became a legend in the village, a reminder that sometimes extraordinary gifts lead to extraordinary responsibilities and a greater understanding of the world we all inhabit. The Vanderholt Family Crypt. I want to tell you a story. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting an eerie glow upon the ancient mansion that stood alone on the outskirts of town. Ivy clung desperately to its crumbling facade, and the windows were shattered, revealing the darkness that lurked within. Locals spoke of the mansion in hushed tones, warning of a curse that had befallen it centuries ago. Legend had it that the mansion was once the home of the illustrious Vanderholt family, who had mysteriously vanished one fateful night. Whispers of dark rituals and a pact with malevolent forces surrounded their disappearance. As the years passed, the mansion fell into disrepair, becoming a crumbling relic of its former glory. Few dared to venture near the mansion, but curiosity compelled a group of friends one moonlit night. Armed with flashlights and trembling courage, they crossed the overgrown garden and pushed open the creaking front door. As they stepped into the foyer, an icy wind swept through the grand hall, extinguishing their flashlights. In the pitch darkness, they heard faint whispers echoing through the halls, and shadows danced on the walls. The air grew heavy with the weight of unseen eyes watching them. The friends, paralyzed with fear, felt an otherworldly presence. The ghostly inhabitants of the mansion were awakening. A spectral figure materialized at the top of the grand staircase, the apparition of Lady Vanderholt, clad in a tattered gown. She beckoned them with a bony finger, her hollow eyes fixed on the intruders. As they ascended the staircase, the temperature plummeted and the air became thick with sorrowful moans. The friends soon found themselves in a decaying ballroom where a phantom orchestra played a haunting melody. The walls echoed with the laughter of a bygone era, and the ghostly dancers twirled in a macabre waltz. The friends, caught in the ethereal dance, felt the weight of the curse that bound the mansion. Desperation set in as they realized they were trapped in a realm between the living and the dead. Lady Vanderholt's ghostly visage spoke of a curse that demanded a sacrifice to release the souls trapped within the mansion. The friends, now entwined in the tragic history of the Vanderholts, sought a way to break the curse and find peace for the tormented spirits. As dawn approached, they discovered a hidden chamber beneath the mansion, containing the Vanderholt family crypt. With trepidation, they unearthed the long-forgotten remains of the family. In a solemn ritual, they offered apologies and released the spirits from their eternal torment. With the curse lifted, the mansion crumbled into dust, its ghostly inhabitants finding peace at last. The friends emerged into the morning light, the once cursed grounds now silent and serene. The legend of the haunted mansion became a cautionary tale, a reminder that some secrets are best left undisturbed in the shadows of the past. The Memory Journal. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and babbling brooks, there lived a curious individual named Amy. Amy was an aspiring writer with a love for the past, finding inspiration in the stories of days gone by. One day, while exploring the dusty shelves of an old bookstore, she stumbled upon a peculiar leather-bound journal. Intrigued by its worn pages and the faint smell of aged paper, Amy couldn't resist purchasing the mysterious journal. Little did she know that this unassuming book held the key to a remarkable adventure through time. As she opened the journal for the first time, a wave of nostalgia washed over her, transporting her back to a vivid memory from her childhood. Amy soon discovered that the journal had the extraordinary ability to allow its owner to travel through time by reliving their memories. Each page held a different moment from her past, waiting to be revisited. Excitement bubbled within her as she turned the pages, encountering moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the town, Amy found herself immersed in the memory of a summer fair from her teenage years. The laughter of friends, the aroma of cotton candy, and the twinkling lights of the Ferris wheel surrounded her. With a sense of awe, she realized she could interact with the people in these memories, offering words of wisdom to her younger self or simply savoring the joyous moments once more. As Amy continued her journey through time within the pages of the journal, she learned valuable lessons from her own experiences. She discovered the resilience she had shown during challenging times and found solace in reliving moments with loved ones who were no longer with her. The journal became a cherished companion, offering a unique form of introspection and self-discovery. However, as Amy delved deeper into the journal, she began to grapple with the consequences of tampering with the past. Some memories held pain and heartache that, when revisited, reopened old wounds. She realized that just like in life, the beauty of the present lay in accepting and learning from the past. In the end, the magical journal taught Amy that while reliving memories was a precious gift, living in the present and creating new moments held a magic of its own. With a newfound appreciation for the passage of time, Amy closed the journal, content with the understanding that each chapter of her life, past and present, had contributed to the person she had become. And so, armed with the lessons of the past and the excitement of the future, Amy embraced each new day with a heart full of gratitude, knowing that her journey through time had made her appreciate the fleeting beauty of the present. The Magical Bird. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled at the edge of a dense ancient forest, there lived a young girl named Lara. She had always been a curious and adventurous soul, and her heart longed for the mysteries of the world beyond the woods. But what truly set Lara apart from the other villagers was her extraordinary pet, a talking, mystical creature named Zephyr. Zephyr was a small, iridescent creature with delicate gossamer wings and large, wise eyes that shone like orbs of wisdom. The villagers had never seen anything quite like it, and many believed Zephyr to be a magical entity. Lara, however, knew Zephyr was not just magical, but extraordinary in ways she had yet to fully comprehend. Every morning, Lara and Zephyr would wander into the forest, the girl's heart filled with dreams of what lay beyond. But what truly set her on her path was Zephyr's gift of foresight. Zephyr had the extraordinary ability to foresee future events, and it often whispered its visions into Lara's ears. One sunny morning, as Lara and Zephyr ventured deep into the forest, the mystical creature suddenly spoke, its voice a gentle, melodious chime. "Lara, there is a great adventure awaiting you," Zephyr said. "A path that will lead you to a hidden treasure that can save our village." Lara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "What is it, Zephyr? What must I do?" Zephyr explained that they needed to follow a specific path through the forest. Lara diligently listened and memorized the instructions, knowing that Zephyr's foresight was never wrong. With Zephyr as her guide, she embarked on the journey, determined to uncover the treasure that would save her village from a mysterious impending calamity. As she ventured deeper into the forest, she faced trials and tribulations that tested her courage and resilience. But with Zephyr's guidance, she overcame each obstacle, growing wiser with every step. She encountered talking animals, ancient spirits, and enchanted groves, all of which aided her on her quest. Finally, after days of traversing the dense forest, Lara stood before a shimmering, secret glen. In its centre, beneath a colossal ancient tree, she uncovered the hidden treasure. It was a luminous crystal said to hold the power to protect her village from the impending disaster. Returning home, Lara used the mystical crystal's power to avert the catastrophe that loomed over her village. The villagers marveled at her bravery and the incredible gift of foresight her mystical pet, Zephyr, possessed. From that day forward, Lara became a revered figure in her village, known for her courage and wisdom. She and Zephyr continued their adventures, and their bond only deepened with each passing day. The two inseparable friends wandered the mystical forest, helping those in need and preserving the ancient secrets hidden within its depths. Lara and Zephyr's story was a testament to the power of friendship, foresight, and the unwavering belief that even the most extraordinary adventures could be embarked upon with the aid of a mystical companion by one's side. The Guiding Shadow. I want to tell you a story. In the quaint town of Eldridge, nestled between ancient forests and mist-laden mountains, there lived a peculiar soul named Julia. She was an artist with an insatiable curiosity, always drawn to the enigmatic and the unknown. Eldridge, with its cobblestone streets and flickering gas lamps, held secrets that whispered through the chilly night air. One evening, as the moon hung low in the indigo sky, Julia stumbled upon an antique shop tucked away in a forgotten corner of the town. Intrigued by the peculiar objects within, she discovered an ornate mirror that seemed to beckon her closer. Its frame was carved with arcane symbols, and as she gazed into its reflective surface, a mysterious shadow detached itself from the edges and enveloped her. The shadow, a sentient entity with an otherworldly aura, introduced itself as Umbra. It spoke to Julia in hushed tones, promising to be her guide through the darkness that lay both within and beyond the edges of Eldridge. Entranced by the promise of adventure and the allure of the unknown, Julia accepted Umbra's companionship. From that moment on, wherever Julia went, Umbra trailed behind her, a mysterious silhouette blending seamlessly with the shadows. The sentient shadow possessed an uncanny ability to manipulate darkness, creating pathways through the most obscure corners of Eldridge. It led Julia through hidden passages, ancient ruins, and secret gardens that had long been forgotten by the townspeople. As Julia delved deeper into the mysteries of Eldridge, she discovered that Umbra was more than just a guide. It seemed to absorb the tales of the town, memories embedded in the very fabric of shadows. Whispers of long-lost love, ancient curses, and spectral apparitions echoed through the darkness, painting a vivid tapestry of the town's history. However, as Julia and Umbra ventured further into the unknown, they stumbled upon a malevolent force that sought to exploit the power within Umbra. A group of shadowy figures draped in cloaks of midnight attempted to capture and control the sentient shadow for their own nefarious purposes. With each passing challenge, Julia and Umbra's bond strengthened. Together they faced the encroaching darkness and thwarted the malevolent figures, ensuring that the ancient secrets of Eldridge remained protected. The townspeople, unaware of the mysterious shadow that safeguarded their history, continued their lives in blissful ignorance. Eventually, Julia and Umbra became legends in Eldridge, whispered about in the quiet corners of the town. The artist and her sentient shadow continued to explore the mysteries of the world, leaving behind a legacy of courage and curiosity that lingered in the shadows of Eldridge for generations to come. The Hawthorne Family Mirror. I want to tell you a story. In a quaint town nestled between rolling hills and ancient forests, there stood an old Victorian house that had weathered the passage of time. Within its walls, the Hawthorne family had resided for generations, and with them a mysterious heirloom that held a power beyond comprehension. The heirloom, an intricately crafted antique mirror, had been passed down through the Hawthorne family for centuries. It was said to possess the extraordinary ability to offer glimpses into the future, revealing snippets of what lay ahead for those who dared to gaze into its reflective surface. The mirror had become a treasured family secret, guarded closely by each generation. The current custodian of the mirror was Emily Hawthorne, a young woman with a curious spirit and a deep connection to her family's history. She had grown up listening to the enchanting tales of the mirror's prophetic visions, handed down by her grandmother, who had inherited the mirror from her own ancestors. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on the aged walls of the Hawthorne house, Emily found herself drawn to the mirror. Intrigued by the stories she had heard since childhood, she couldn't resist the allure of the mysterious artifact any longer. With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, she approached the ornate mirror, her reflection wavering in its ancient glass. As Emily gazed into the mirror, a kaleidoscope of images unfolded before her eyes. She saw snippets of her own future, moments of joy, challenges to overcome, and paths to choose. The mirror revealed not only her destiny, but also the destinies of those she held dear. The threads of time intertwined, weaving a tapestry of interconnected lives. Over the following weeks, Emily wrestled with the knowledge bestowed upon her by the mirror. The glimpses of the future left her with a profound sense of responsibility. She grappled with the dilemma of whether to intervene in the natural course of events or let fate unfold as it was destined. As Emily navigated the complexities of the future, the mirror became both a blessing and a burden. It held the power to bring solace and forewarning, but it also demanded difficult choices. In the end, she realized that the true magic of the heirloom lay not just in its ability to reveal the future, but in the lessons it taught about the beauty of uncertainty and the strength found in facing the unknown. The Hawthorne family continued to thrive through the generations, their lives intertwined with the enigmatic mirror. The antique heirloom, with its timeless wisdom, stood as a testament to the enduring power of family, the mysteries of fate, and the ever-changing tapestry of time. The Magic of Echo Springs. I want to tell you a story. In the small town of Echo Springs, nestled between rolling hills and ancient woods, a peculiar phenomenon occurred every time the raindrops danced upon the cobblestone streets. For as long as the townsfolk could remember, the rain in Echo Springs had a magical touch, a mystical quality that awakened forgotten memories in those who walked beneath its gentle showers. The townspeople had grown accustomed to the enchantment, organizing impromptu gatherings whenever storm clouds gathered on the horizon. On one such rainy day, a young woman named Katie stood on the porch of her cozy cottage, watching as the first raindrops began to tap against the window panes. The air was thick with anticipation, and Katie felt a tingling in her bones, a sensation that told her something extraordinary was about to happen. As the rain intensified, Katie decided to take a stroll through the town's narrow streets. The rhythmic pitter-patter of raindrops played a soothing melody as she walked, her footsteps echoing against the damp cobblestones. Memories long buried in the recesses of her mind started to stir, like whispers in the wind. Katie found herself drawn to the town square, where a centuries-old oak tree stood tall and proud. Beneath its branches, a group of people had gathered, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns hanging from the tree's limbs. There was a sense of camaraderie in the air, as if the rain had woven a web connecting the hearts of the townsfolk. As Katie joined the gathering, stories unfolded like petals opening to the rain. A wise elder recounted tales of love and loss, while a jovial blacksmith shared anecdotes of triumph and defeat. Each raindrop seemed to unlock a new chapter in the collective memory of Echo Springs, weaving a tapestry of shared experiences that connected generations. Katie, too, found herself caught in the tide of recollection. She remembered the laughter of her childhood friends, the smell of her grandmother's apple pie, and the warmth of a long-forgotten embrace. The rain had become a conduit to the past, a gentle reminder of the threads that bound the town together. As the rain continued to fall, the townspeople revelled in the rediscovery of their histories. Echo Springs became a living museum of memories, where every droplet was a key to unlock the doors of the past. The rain, it seemed, was not just a weather phenomenon, but a custodian of the town's collective soul. As the storm eventually subsided and the last raindrops kissed the ground, the townspeople dispersed, carrying with them the renewed richness of their shared history. The magic of Echo Springs lay not just in the rain, but in the bonds forged through the memories it resurrected, creating a town where the past was as alive as the present. And so, with hearts full of gratitude, the people of Echo Springs eagerly awaited the next rainfall, ready to dance once more in the rain-soaked embrace of forgotten memories. The memories in the mansion. I want to tell you a story. In a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and ancient forests, there stood an old, mysterious mansion. It was said to be haunted, its windows filled with secrets, and its halls echoing with whispers from a bygone era. Among the many peculiar artifacts within the mansion, none held as much intrigue as the enchanted mirror that adorned the grand entrance hall. The mirror was an ornate masterpiece, its frame intricately carved with mystical symbols and adorned with shimmering gemstones. Generations of tales surrounded this magical-looking glass, whispered by the villagers as they gathered around fires on chilly evenings. It was rumoured that the mirror held the power to reveal hidden messages from the other side, a gateway to the past or a glimpse into the realm of spirits. Elena, a curious young woman from the village, couldn't resist the allure of the enchanted mirror. Drawn by both fear and fascination, she decided to venture into the old mansion one moonlit night. As she approached the grand entrance hall, the air grew thick with anticipation. Standing before the mirror, Elena hesitated for a moment before mustering the courage to utter the incantation she had discovered in an ancient tome hidden in the village archives. The mirror responded with a soft, ethereal glow, and suddenly the room seemed to come alive with whispers of forgotten voices. Images flickered across the reflective surface, scenes from a distant past, a ballroom filled with swirling dancers in elegant attire, a garden bathed in the soft glow of fireflies, and faces long lost to time. The mirror revealed stories of love and betrayal, of joy and sorrow, all hidden within the walls of the mansion. Elena was mesmerized by the spectral tales unfolding before her. As the mirror transported her through time, she felt a deep connection with the souls of those who had once walked the same halls. She witnessed moments of triumph and tragedy, understanding the intricate web of lives woven into the fabric of the mansion's history. As dawn approached, the mirror's glow began to fade, and the whispers dwindled to a gentle hum. Elena, grateful for the magical journey, stepped away from the mirror, her heart brimming with newfound knowledge and a sense of connection to the past. The enchanted mirror, having fulfilled its purpose, returned to its silent, reflective state. The mansion stood as a keeper of stories, and the village, once wary of the haunted estate, now embraced it as a living testament to the rich tapestry of lives that had graced its halls. Elena shared the tales she had witnessed, passing down the legacy of the enchanted mirror to future generations. The mysterious mansion, once shrouded in fear, became a place where the past and present intertwined, a bridge between worlds, guarded by a magical mirror that revealed the hidden messages from the other side. The library portal. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of the small town of Eldoria stood a forgotten library, its ancient walls adorned with ivy that whispered tales of a bygone era. The Eldoria library had long been abandoned, its shelves covered in dust and its halls echoing with the whispers of memories. Ava, a curious and adventurous young woman, stumbled upon this hidden gem while exploring the town's forgotten corners. Drawn by a mysterious force, she pushed open the creaky door and found herself surrounded by the musty scent of old books. As she wandered through the narrow aisles, her fingers trailed over the spines of ancient tomes. In the farthest corner of the library, obscured by dusty volumes, Eva discovered an ornate bookshelf that seemed out of place. As she examined it, she noticed a small worn-out book with a faded leather cover. The title, Chronicles of the Hidden Realms, hinted at untold secrets. Eagerly, Eva opened the book and found a map of Eldoria, marked with an intricate pattern leading to an enigmatic portal. According to the ancient text, this portal was said to transport those who dared to enter to distant lands filled with wonders and magic. Determined to unravel the mysteries hidden within the library, Eva followed the map's instructions. She traced her fingers along the hidden passageways, solving riddles and uncovering long-forgotten keys. Eventually, she arrived at the heart of the library, where the mysterious portal awaited. With a deep breath, Eva stepped through the shimmering gateway. The world around her transformed as she emerged into a breathtaking landscape bathed in the glow of an unfamiliar sun. She found herself in a land of floating islands, vibrant flora, and mythical creatures. Eva's journey through the hidden realms became an odyssey of discovery and self-discovery. She encountered ancient civilizations, befriended magical beings, and learned the secrets of forgotten wisdom. Each portal she discovered opened up new lands, each more captivating than the last. Word of Eva's adventures spread throughout Eldoria, and the once-forgotten library became a hub of excitement and inspiration. The townspeople, inspired by Eva's courage, started exploring the library themselves, discovering their own hidden paths to distant realms. And so, the Eldoria Library, once on the verge of being lost to time, became a beacon of exploration and wonder, connecting the people of the small town to the magic that lay hidden within the pages of their forgotten history. Eva's journey had not only opened portals to distant lands, but had also unlocked the potential for endless exploration and imagination in the hearts of those who dared to dream. The Plant Whisperer. I want to tell you a story. Maria had always felt a special connection to the natural world. From a young age, she discovered she had a unique gift. She could communicate with plants and make them flourish. Living in a small town surrounded by lush greenery, Maria's abilities became the source of wonder and curiosity among her neighbours. Maria's backyard was a testament to her extraordinary talent. Her flowers bloomed in vibrant hues, and her vegetable garden yielded an abundance of fresh produce that seemed to defy the seasons. However, Maria's most cherished companion was an ancient oak tree standing tall at the edge of her property. The old oak, named Eldrin, had been a silent witness to generations of families in the town. When Maria was still a child, she discovered that Eldrin was not as silent as he seemed. One sunny afternoon, as she sat beneath the tree, Maria felt a gentle vibration in the earth. It was Eldrin, awakening to the presence of the girl who possessed the rare ability to understand his silent whispers. As the years passed, Maria and Eldrin developed a profound friendship. Maria would spend hours beneath Eldrin's sprawling branches, conversing with the wise old tree and learning the secrets of the natural world. Eldrin shared stories of the seasons, the changing weather, and the ebb and flow of life in the forest. One day, a crisis befell the town. A construction project threatened to uproot Eldrin, and the community was in uproar. Maria felt the tree's distress and knew she had to act. Determined to save her friend, she gathered the townspeople and shared Eldrin's stories, illustrating how the ancient oak had been a guardian of the town for centuries. Touched by Maria's sincerity and the magical aura surrounding Eldrin, the townspeople rallied together. They petitioned the authorities, and through a combination of heartfelt pleas and Maria's influence on the surrounding plants, the construction plans were altered. Eldrin was saved, and the town celebrated their victory. In the following years, Maria's reputation as the plant whisperer grew. She devoted herself to teaching others about the importance of coexisting with nature and respecting the environment. Her ability to communicate with plants became a gift to the entire community, as gardens flourished and green spaces thrived under her care. As Maria continued to share her wisdom and nurture the natural world around her, the small town transformed into a haven of beauty and harmony. Eldrin stood as a symbol of resilience, and Maria, the girl with the magical touch, became a beloved figure, inspiring generations to come to live in harmony with the world that surrounded them. The Cursed Coin. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time in the small village of Eldridge, nestled at the edge of a dense and mysterious forest, there was a legend whispered among the townsfolk about a cursed coin. This ancient coin was said to have the power to grant unimaginable wealth to whoever possessed it, but came with a steep price, the forfeiture of something incredibly precious. The tale began with a humble farmer named Tobias, struggling to make ends meet and provide for his ailing wife, Amelia. One day, while tending to his crops near the edge of the forest, Tobias unearthed an old, tarnished coin. Intrigued by its peculiar markings, he decided to keep it, unaware of the dark forces that lurked within. As soon as Tobias brought the coin into his home, a strange and otherworldly energy began to emanate from it. Overnight, the once barren fields surrounding his farm flourished with bountiful crops, and his livestock multiplied. Tobias and Amelia were soon the wealthiest couple in Eldridge, and the village marvelled at their sudden prosperity. However, the village also noticed a change in Tobias. His once warm and compassionate demeanour turned cold and distant. The more wealth he acquired, the more he seemed to lose touch with his humanity. Amelia, too, observed the transformation in her husband and sensed that something was amiss. One evening, as the couple sat in their opulent home, Amelia confronted Tobias about the change in his behaviour. It was then that he confessed the secret of the cursed coin and the price he had paid for their newfound wealth. Amelia's heart sank as she realised the gravity of the situation. Determined to break the curse and save her husband, Amelia ventured into the mysterious forest, guided only by the stories passed down through generations. Deep within the ancient woods, she encountered a wise and ancient spirit who revealed the only way to lift the curse was to willingly part with the source of her greatest joy and love. Amelia faced a heart-wrenching choice, but understood that the true wealth lay in the love and connection she shared with Tobias. With a heavy heart, she made the sacrifice, giving up her most cherished memories and moments spent with her husband. As Amelia returned to the village, the cursed coin lost its lustre, and the opulence it had bestowed upon Tobias began to fade. The once thriving crops withered, and the livestock dwindled. Yet, as the material wealth vanished, something far more precious returned, the warmth, love, and humanity that Tobias had lost. The tale of the cursed coin became a cautionary legend in Eldridge, a reminder that true wealth is found not in material possessions, but in the bonds of love and the intangible moments that make life truly rich. The Empathetic Boy. I want to tell you a story. In the small town of Willow Creek, there lived a peculiar boy named Oliver. Unlike other children his age, Oliver possessed a unique ability. He could enter the minds of others and experience their thoughts and emotions. This extraordinary gift both fascinated and bewildered the young boy. One sunny afternoon, as Oliver wandered through the town park, he noticed a girl sitting alone on a bench, tears streaming down her face. Intrigued by the opportunity to understand her pain, Oliver closed his eyes and focused on the girl named Lily. In an instant, he found himself transported into Lily's mind. It was a whirlwind of emotions, grief, heartbreak, and a profound sense of loneliness. Oliver felt every nuance of Lily's sadness as if it were his own. Determined to help, he gently whispered words of comfort within her mind, offering solace and understanding. Lily looked up, startled, as if she had heard a distant echo of kindness. From that day forward, Oliver's gift became both a blessing and a responsibility. He used his ability to connect with others on a deep, empathetic level. He became the town's silent counsellor, offering support and compassion to those in need. As he delved into the minds of his neighbours, he discovered the intricate tapestry of emotions that made each person unique. Yet with great power came great challenges. Oliver struggled to maintain his own identity amidst the sea of emotions he navigated daily. The weight of others' burdens occasionally threatened to drown him in a flood of conflicting feelings. But with time, he learned to establish boundaries, honing his ability to help without losing himself. One day, as Oliver strolled through Willow Creek, he encountered a gruff and reclusive man named Mr. Thompson. The town had long regarded him as a mystery, an enigma wrapped in layers of bitterness. Intrigued by the challenge, Oliver decided to enter Mr. Thompson's mind. What he discovered was a lifetime of heartache and disappointment, a man burdened by the scars of his past. Determined to break through the walls surrounding Mr. Thompson's heart, Oliver spent days weaving a tapestry of empathy and understanding. Slowly, the man's icy exterior thawed, revealing the warmth of a forgotten soul. As the town witnessed the transformation of Mr. Thompson, they marvelled at the mysterious boy who had the power to heal wounds that had long been left untreated. Oliver, though still a young boy, had become a beacon of compassion and connection in Willow Creek. In the end, Oliver realized that his gift was not just about experiencing the thoughts and emotions of others. It was about using that insight to create bonds, mend broken spirits, and bring the community closer together. And so, the boy with the extraordinary ability continued his journey, leaving a trail of healing in his wake, one mind at a time. The Theatre Ghosts. I want to tell you a story. The old theatre stood at the edge of town, a decaying relic of a bygone era. Its once grand facade was now a canvas for peeling paint, and the marquee that once heralded the latest performances now swung precariously in the wind. Locals whispered of its haunted history, recounting tales of strange sounds and ghostly apparitions that danced across the stage when the moon was high. One gloomy evening, a curious young woman named Emily dared to venture into the abandoned theatre. Armed with a flickering flashlight and fueled by an insatiable curiosity, she pushed open the creaking door and stepped into the darkness within. The air was thick with the musty scent of forgotten dreams and the echoes of applause that had long faded away. As Emily cautiously made her way through the dusty corridors, the distant echoes of phantom footsteps seemed to follow her every move. She entered the dilapidated auditorium, its once lustrous red velvet seats now torn and tattered. The stage, however, remained surprisingly intact, as if waiting for a performance that never came. Suddenly, the room filled with an eerie glow, and a hushed murmur emanated from the shadows. Emily's heart raced as the ghostly apparitions of actors from a bygone era materialized on the stage. They were ethereal, with translucent figures dressed in extravagant costumes that shimmered with a spectral light. The ghostly actors began to perform a hauntingly beautiful play, their movements graceful and otherworldly. The melancholic melody of an unseen orchestra accompanied their spectral performance, creating an atmosphere that transcended time itself. Emily, captivated by the ethereal show, watched in awe as the long-dead actors poured their souls into their roles. As the final act approached, a phantom spotlight focused on the lead actress. She turned to Emily with a sorrowful expression, her eyes filled with a longing that transcended the boundaries between the living and the dead. The ghostly actress extended a hand, and to Emily's surprise, she felt the cool touch of spectral fingers. In that fleeting moment, Emily sensed the profound stories of unfulfilled dreams and untold tragedies that lingered in the haunted theatre. The ghostly actors bowed, and as the final note of the invisible orchestra faded away, they vanished into the darkness, leaving Emily alone in the abandoned auditorium. The young woman emerged from the haunted theatre with a newfound appreciation for the spirits that dwelled within its crumbling walls. The once-forgotten performers had found an audience once more, if only for a brief and spectral encore, leaving the old theatre with a sense of eerie beauty that would forever linger in Emily's memory. Wings of Elysium. I want to tell you a story. In the heart of a dense, enchanted forest, shrouded in mist and ancient magic, there existed a hidden temple. Deep within its cavernous walls, guarded by ancient spirits and mystical creatures, lay the coveted artifact known as the Wings of Elysium. Legend spoke of these majestic wings, an otherworldly creation crafted by the gods themselves. For centuries, the temple remained hidden from the eyes of mortals, its existence known only to a select few who had dedicated their lives to the pursuit of ancient knowledge. One fateful day, a humble scholar named Alaric stumbled upon an ancient text that hinted at the temple's location and the mythical wings that resided within. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a yearning for adventure, Alaric embarked on a perilous journey through treacherous terrain, overcoming countless obstacles to reach the hidden sanctuary. As he stood before the colossal doors of the temple, he could feel the pulsating energy emanating from within. The temple's interior was adorned with intricate carvings and glowing runes that seemed to come alive in response to Alaric's presence. In the heart of the sanctum, resting on a pedestal of pure crystal, lay the Wings of Elysium. Brilliant feathers, iridescent and shimmering with ethereal light, extended from a golden harness adorned with ancient symbols. With a sense of awe and trepidation, Alaric approached the artifact. As he gingerly touched the feathers, a surge of energy coursed through his veins. The wings responded to the call of their chosen bearer. With a single thought, Alaric found himself lifted off the ground, soaring effortlessly through the temple's cavernous chambers. Outside the temple, Alaric marvelled at the newfound power bestowed upon him. The Wings of Elysium granted him the ability to traverse the skies with grace and speed, defying the laws of gravity. He revelled in the sensation of wind rushing through his hair as he soared above the treetops, marvelling at the beauty of the world from a perspective few had ever witnessed. Word of Alaric's extraordinary feat spread far and wide, attracting the attention of both admirers and those who coveted the wing's power for themselves. As Alaric's adventures continued, he faced challenges and adversaries determined to seize the mystical artifact. Yet Alaric understood the responsibility that came with the Wings of Elysium. With great power came the duty to protect and preserve the delicate balance of magic and nature. Embracing his role as guardian, he used the wings to explore distant lands, share the wonders of flight with others, and ensure that the ancient artifact remained a force for good in the world. And so, the Wings of Elysium continued to weave their magic, guiding the chosen bearer through the vast skies and inspiring tales of wonder and enchantment for generations to come. The Magic of Abigail. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time in the quaint village of Eldoria, there lived a young woman named Abigail. Abigail was known for her kind heart and gentle spirit. She spent her days tending to the animals on her family's farm and was always surrounded by a chorus of chirping birds, buzzing bees, and contented cows. Little did she know that her life was about to take a magical turn. One day, while exploring the dense woods that bordered her family's land, Abigail stumbled upon an ancient oak tree with gnarled roots and a mysterious aura. As she brushed away the fallen leaves, her fingers grazed something cold and metallic, buried in the soil. With careful hands, she unearthed a gleaming silver ring, adorned with an intricately carved symbol of a dove. Intrigued by the find, Abigail slipped the ring onto her finger, and as soon as it settled, she felt a tingling sensation surging through her. Startled, she looked around to find herself surrounded by a group of woodland creatures, rabbits, squirrels, and birds of various colours. To her amazement, she could understand their chittering and chirping as if they were speaking in the common tongue. The magical ring bestowed upon Abigail the ability to comprehend the language of animals. At first, she was astonished and unsure of how to handle her newfound gift. However, as days passed, Abigail embraced her unique ability and formed a deep connection with the creatures of the forest. Abigail's days transformed into enchanting adventures as she conversed with wise old owls, shared stories with playful foxes, and learned the ancient secrets of the trees from the murmuring leaves. The animals became her companions and confidants, offering friendship and guidance in return for her kindness. Word of Abigail's extraordinary gift spread throughout Eldoria, capturing the attention of the villagers. They sought her advice on crops, weather predictions, and even matters of the heart. Abigail, in turn, used her ability to foster harmony between humans and nature, bringing about a newfound respect for the delicate balance of the world around them. Yet, with great power came great responsibility, and Abigail soon realized that not everyone shared her pure intentions. Greedy individuals sought the magical ring for their own gain, hoping to exploit the animal's knowledge for personal wealth and power. Undeterred, Abigail stood firm, vowing to protect the magical gift bestowed upon her. In the end, Abigail's compassion and selflessness prevailed. The animals of Eldoria rallied by her side, and together they thwarted the schemes of those who sought to exploit the magic. The village, recognizing Abigail's wisdom and virtue, honored her as a guardian of the natural world. As the years passed, Abigail continued to wear the magical ring, using its power to foster understanding and unity between humans and animals. Eldoria flourished, and the once skeptical villagers came to appreciate the interconnected web of life that surrounded them. And so, Abigail's tale became a legend in Eldoria, a story of a kind-hearted woman who, with the help of a magical ring, bridged the gap between two worlds and created a harmonious balance that would endure for generations to come. The portal in the painting. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in the quiet town of Crestwood, there lived a curious and imaginative girl named Emma. Emma had always been drawn to the mysterious and the unknown, spending her afternoons exploring the dusty shelves of the local library or wandering through the cobblestone streets, lost in her thoughts. One day, while browsing the shelves of an old antique shop, Emma stumbled upon a peculiar painting. It depicted a serene landscape with a quaint cottage at the centre. The colours were vivid, and the details were astonishingly lifelike. Intrigued, Emma decided to purchase the painting and took it home, hanging it in her room. That night, as the moon cast its soft glow through Emma's window, something extraordinary happened. The painting seemed to come alive with a shimmering light, and before Emma's astonished eyes, the serene landscape transformed into a bustling Victorian city. Emma could hardly believe her eyes as she found herself standing in the midst of horse-drawn carriages, gas lamps, and women in elegant hoop skirts. The painting had become a portal to another era, and Emma couldn't resist the temptation to explore. With each visit, she uncovered the secrets of different historical periods, the Roaring Twenties, the medieval times, and even the distant future. The painting held a remarkable power to transport Emma through time, allowing her to witness pivotal moments in history. As Emma delved deeper into the mysteries of the painting, she discovered that each era held its own secrets and challenges. In the Renaissance, she encountered artists and thinkers who inspired her with their creativity and wisdom. During World War II, she witnessed the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. However, the more Emma travelled through time, the more she realised the responsibility that came with her newfound ability. She learned that the past held valuable lessons for the present and the future. She felt a duty to preserve the knowledge she gained and share it with others. Word of Emma's time-travelling adventures spread throughout Crestwood, and people from all walks of life came to listen to her stories. The once quiet town became a hub of excitement as residents and visitors alike gathered to hear tales of bygone eras. As Emma continued her journeys through the time-travelling painting, she discovered the true magic wasn't just in witnessing history, but in learning from it. The painting became a bridge between generations, connecting people through the shared experiences of the past. And so, in the small town of Crestwood, Emma's time-travelling painting became a symbol of unity, understanding, and the enduring power of curiosity. As the years passed, the painting continued to reveal its secrets to those who dared to explore, ensuring that the lessons of the past would never be forgotten. The wisdom of the elder tongue. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, nestled between two towering mountains and hidden from the bustling world, there lay a mystical forest named Elder Tongue. This enchanted woodland was no ordinary grove. It possessed the rare gift of speech. Whispers of its wonders had spread far and wide, reaching the ears of those who sought wisdom and guidance. One day, a weary traveller named Aidan, burdened with the weight of unanswered questions and the trials of his journey, stumbled upon the edge of Elder Tongue. As he entered the forest, the air shimmered with magic, and the leaves above rustled as if in greeting. "Welcome, seeker of knowledge," a gentle voice resonated through the ancient trees. Aidan, astonished, looked around to find the source of the voice. A wise old oak tree with gnarled branches and a warm aura spoke again. "I am Oakheart, the guardian of Elder Tongue. What troubles your heart, young traveller?" Aidan, realizing the extraordinary nature of the forest, shared his worries and doubts with Oakheart. The wise oak listened intently, branches swaying empathetically. Then the other trees joined in, their voices creating a harmonious symphony of wisdom and comfort. The forest of Elder Tongue spoke in unison, offering advice, sharing tales of ages past, and weaving a tapestry of ancient knowledge. Each tree, with its unique personality, contributed to the conversation, imparting lessons from their long existence. As the days passed, Aidan found solace and strength in the guidance of Elder Tongue. He learned the value of patience from Willow Whisper, the importance of adaptability from Birch Song, and the courage to face adversity from Ironbark. The mystical forest became his mentor, friend, and sanctuary. Word of Elder Tongue's enchanted wisdom spread, drawing more seekers from distant lands. The forest, in its benevolence, embraced each visitor, offering the solace and answers they sought. Elder Tongue became a beacon of hope and enlightenment, a place where the troubled could find peace and the lost could discover their path. And so, the talking enchanted forest continued to assist those who ventured into its depths, sharing the timeless wisdom that resided within its ancient boughs. Elder Tongue stood as a testament to the enduring power of nature and the magic that lies in the heart of the forest, where whispers of wisdom lingered like the echoes of a timeless melody. The Forbidden Island. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in the heart of the vast ocean, there existed a forbidden island veiled in mystery. It was a place whispered about in hushed tones, a realm where mythical creatures roamed freely, untouched by the passage of time. Legends spoke of the island's magical allure and the enchantments that guarded its secrets. Isabella, a daring explorer with a heart hungry for adventure, caught wind of the island's existence. The tales of shimmering mermaids, majestic unicorns, and elusive phoenixes captivated her imagination. Despite the warnings that echoed through sailors' stories and ancient lore, Isabella yearned to unveil the truth that lay hidden behind the forbidden veil. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Isabella embarked on a perilous journey across treacherous waters, guided only by the stars and the whims of the ocean currents. The journey was fraught with danger, and the sea seemed to conspire against her, tossing her ship amidst towering waves and threatening to swallow her whole. Yet fueled by an unrelenting spirit, Isabella pressed on until, against all odds, the forbidden island materialized on the horizon. As she set foot on the untouched shores, Isabella felt an otherworldly energy coursing through the air. The lush vegetation whispered tales of ancient times, and the crystal-clear waters shimmered with the reflections of magical beings beneath the surface. She marvelled at the sight of winged creatures soaring through the sky, their iridescent feathers leaving trails of brilliance. Among the trees, she encountered graceful centaurs, wise and ancient, who shared tales of a time when humans and mythical beings lived in harmony. Isabella discovered hidden springs that granted the gift of eternal youth and meadows, where mischievous fairies danced in the moonlight. The Forbidden Island was a sanctuary for creatures of legend, a place where the boundaries between the fantastical and the real blurred into a seamless tapestry. However, the island's enchantment came with a price. As Isabella delved deeper into its secrets, she realized that the mystical creatures were bound by a delicate balance that should not be disturbed. The island thrived on secrecy, and her presence threatened to disrupt the fragile harmony that had endured for centuries. Haunted by the responsibility of preserving the sanctity of the Forbidden Island, Isabella faced a moral dilemma. She had sought the allure of the mythical realm, but now she held the power to either protect its secrecy or expose it to the world. In the end, she chose to honor the ancient pact, bid farewell to the magical creatures, and return to the realm of men, forever carrying the Forbidden Island's secrets in her heart. The island remained shrouded in mystery, a haven for mythical beings, guarded by the sea and the unseen forces that watched over its hidden wonders. The Magical Gardener. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and babbling brooks, there lived a skilled gardener named Nancy. Her fingers were as green as the lush meadows that surrounded the village, and her knowledge of plants was unparalleled. The village flourished under her care, with vibrant flowers and bountiful crops that sustained the community through the seasons. However, as the years passed, a dark shadow loomed over the village, a relentless drought that threatened to wither the crops and drain the life from the once thriving land. The once lively streams were reduced to mere trickles, and the earth cracked beneath the scorching sun. The villagers were desperate, their hope diminishing like the water in their wells. Nancy, sensing the impending doom, delved into ancient texts and lore, seeking a solution to the devastating drought. In her research, she discovered whispers of a rare and magical plant known as the aquaflora, said to possess the power to bring forth water even in the driest of times. Legend had it that the plant could only be cultivated by a skilled and compassionate gardener with a pure heart. Determined to save her village, Nancy embarked on a perilous journey into the heart of the mystical forest, where the aquaflora was rumoured to grow. The forest was shrouded in mystery, with towering trees that seemed to whisper ancient secrets and magical creatures that watched her every move. Undeterred, Nancy pressed on, guided by the hope that the aquaflora held the key to the village's salvation. After days of wandering through the enchanted forest, Nancy stumbled upon a hidden glade bathed in the soft glow of ethereal light. In the centre of the glade stood the magnificent aquaflora, its petals shimmering like liquid silver. Nancy approached with awe, her heart pounding with a mix of trepidation and determination. The aquaflora sensed the purity of Nancy's intentions and responded to her touch. With each careful cultivation, the magical plant began to bloom, its roots weaving into the soil like a lifeline. As the first drops of dew formed on the aquaflora's petals, a gentle rain began to fall, refreshing the parched earth and rejuvenating the once dying land. Word of Nancy's quest and the miraculous aquaflora spread throughout the village, bringing renewed hope to the hearts of the villagers. The once dry fields now flourished with crops, and the streams flowed with clear water once again. Nancy's skill, compassion, and determination had saved her village from the devastating drought. As the villagers celebrated the return of life to their home, they recognized Nancy as not only a skilled gardener, but also a true hero who had embraced the magic of nature to preserve the beauty of their world. The Nightmare Dragon. I want to tell you a story. In the small village of Somnolence, nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, lived a girl named Seraphina. Unbeknownst to the villagers, Seraphina possessed a unique gift, the ability to manipulate dreams. Her nights were filled with vibrant visions, and she could shape the dreams of those around her. However, with great power came great responsibility. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the velvety sky, Seraphina's dreams were disrupted by a sinister presence. She found herself in a dark realm, a place where nightmares took form and a malevolent force threatened to devour the dreams of all who slept. In the heart of this ominous dreamscape, a dragon of shadows and smoke emerged. Its eyes glowed with an eerie red light, and its wings spanned the horizon, casting a nightmarish shadow over the dream realm. Villagers and creatures alike cowered as the dragon's roar echoed through the dreamscapes. Seraphina knew that she alone possessed the power to confront this monstrous creature. With determination burning in her heart, she ventured into the depths of the nightmare, weaving her way through twisted landscapes and facing surreal challenges. As she drew closer to the heart of the nightmare, Seraphina encountered dream beings who had been enslaved by the dragon's malevolent influence. With kindness and the gentle touch of her dream-weaving abilities, she liberated them from the dragon's grip, gaining allies in her quest. The journey was arduous, and the dragon grew more formidable with every step Seraphina took. Yet she pressed on, drawing upon the strength of her own dreams and the dreams she had shaped for others. Along the way, she discovered that the dragon's power was fueled by fear and negativity. Armed with this knowledge, Seraphina resolved to counter the dragon's darkness with the light of hope and courage. At last she stood before the nightmare dragon, its eyes narrowing as it sensed the power radiating from the determined girl. The battle between dream and nightmare ensued as Seraphina unleashed the full force of her dream-weaving abilities. With each stroke, she painted the night sky with colours of resilience and joy, dispelling the dragon's shadows. As the nightmare dragon writhed and roared, Seraphina focused on the positive dreams she had crafted for the villagers of somnolence. The dragon's power waned, its monstrous form diminishing until it faded away into the recesses of the dream realm. With the nightmare dispelled, the dreamscapes returned to their serene beauty. The villagers of somnolence awoke, feeling refreshed, and the once enslaved dream beings expressed their gratitude to Seraphina. The young dreamweaver had not only saved the dreams of her realm, but had also taught those around her the importance of facing fears with courage and hope. From that day forward, Seraphina continued to use her gift to bring joy and wonder to the dreams of all who slept in somnolence. The nightmare dragon's defeat served as a reminder that even in the darkest dreams, a glimmer of light could emerge, and a brave heart could overcome any shadow.